I'm just going to start saying Eugene. Free cut with your military ID all day. So why not take advantage of it? If you have a military ID card, you have been in the military, you currently are in the military, they just want to say thank you. And Laughing Crow, 690 Van Buren Street, kind of downtown-ish Eugene. Looking at their website, they're a full-service salon. Apparently, I guess they're working on the massage, but that kind of jumped out at me since I don't have much to cut, and I think I've pretty much found my color when it comes to nails. I'm going to be looking at a massage there in the future. Nothing like a great massage to start the day. Today, you can get the cut for free. So thanks to Laughing Crow, and if you know somebody that maybe is not up at 629, that would be able to take advantage of that. Spread the word. You can put it on some social media. Sometimes I think, especially when we talk to these World War II vets, Korean War vets, and they come in and they're so humble and just don't really want anybody to go out of their way for them. I wonder if there's an awkward feeling to take advantage of this. Hopefully not, because the intention is to say, hey,
thank you,
thanks for doing what you're doing or what you did. Again, 690 Van Buren Street, and thank you to Laughing Crow for doing that. Absolutely. That's pretty cool. Cover Oregon, Cynthia Hayes. It's almost like Kitzhaber never left.
Yeah, no, it's just more fun with the family, to say the least. So yeah, Sylvia, and it does not surprise that she's going to appeal.
How much? 129,000?
Yeah, about 140. Yeah. So anyway, if you didn't hear, there was this whole thing that was going on about whether Sylvia was actually, a government employee, even though she had her own page on the state website, the secretary or the First Lady of Oregon. The governor spent years calling her the First Lady of Oregon. She was going out on official state missions. She had her own office in the Capitol. She had her own state paid for staff. She had her own state paid for phone, computer, etc. But no, she's not an employee. She's not a state employee. Anyway, so the Oregonian, when everything was just blowing up about these things that allegedly the governor and the First Lady were doing, they tried to block it. They went to court. They tussled. They tangled. They fought. And then the Oregonian won. And they had to release the things. And, of course, there was a lot of, appeals and everything else that went along with it. And a number of judges said, sorry, got to release this stuff. You are a government employee. Well, the Oregonian spent quite a bit of coin fighting this, and now she's eligible to pay for it, but she's going to appeal. So she's going to appeal the fact that she has to pay, which is not surprising.
No.
I mean, the entire time, the idea of her paying for anything has been pretty well vetted, that if it had to do with money, as long as it was coming to her, it was fine. So, of course.
I think it's a great strategy, and I'm going to adopt it from now on in my life. When I go to a restaurant and they look for a bill paid, I'm going to appeal.
Right. I shouldn't have to pay for this. I think you, the restaurant, should be paying for this. It'll be good for you.
Why not?
Absolutely. I think you need to give it a shot. And then, of course, cover Oregon. Now, mind you, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is all election year politics, because, of course, it was all of the Republicans on this Senate committee that said it was criminal, it needs to be investigated by the Justice Department, it needs to be investigated by the Oregon Department of Justice, which, by the way, is not going to happen. That'll be a cold day in hell if that ever occurs, because Ellen Rosenblum is not going to investigate. Not with a capital N, not. And of course, all the Democrats on that panel in Washington, D.C., what do you suppose they said? They said, oh no, it was Oracle. Huh, does that sound familiar? That sounds just like something they've been saying in the state of Oregon. The Democrats have been saying in the state of Oregon. No, it was them. It was Oracle. So whether anything happens, who knows? And we do know that Sylvia Hayes, the former First Lady of Oregon, or maybe we should call her the alleged former First Lady of Oregon, and her boyfriend, whatever he is, John Kitzhaber, are still being investigated by the FBI for a number of things. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think Cover Oregon really is a part of that investigation, although it may be. And that all goes back to whether Kitzhaber's campaign advisor was actually making policy decisions regarding Cover Oregon so that Governor Kitzhaber could get reelected.
By the way,
which would kind of stink a little bit.
That Cover Oregon, we need and there's got to be somewhere a website where you see a tally of the daily amounts of money that has been spent, the total tally. And I think we'll still be looking and talking about that in 5 to 10 years.
Well, it's the thing about it is it's like, for instance, and I'm going to use something completely seemingly non-connected. That has to do with that Pioneer Mountain build-out of Highway 20 over by Eddyville. That's cost already hundreds of millions of dollars. That was supposed to cost a lot less. Well, part of the cost that's been factored into that now is the legal fees, because the state has sued and been countersued a number of times over that issue, dealing with the contractors who were working on it, from the engineering department, the engineers, to the actual companies that were, private companies that were hired to construct that. And so you also have legal fees that have factored into that entire project. And I think Cover Oregon should be the same way. That, all right, so we wasted all this money on Cover Oregon, a website that never, ever signed one or enrolled one single person. $300 million, no one enrolled. Not one. Zero. But I think they should be factoring the legal fees into it as well, just like they have been on that project. Why not? At that point, I mean, this thing could get...
How could it not have been?
How could it not have been?
Originally.
What?
Figured in.
Don't know.
I mean, wouldn't you have thought...
Well, the state, first off, let's be honest here. The state doesn't want that number to keep going up because it makes them look even worse. As opposed to saying, well, we've spent about $300 million on this. Then to turn around and go, well, now we've spent $350 million on it, and then it keeps going. This is not going to be cheap litigation. It's going to be really expensive litigation. And if you then have a secondary investigation that's involved in that, dealing with Sylvia Hayes and Governor Kitzhaber, all of a sudden this thing, the legal fees start to really balloon on it.
All right, we got a break. Mina coming up next on 1120 KPNW. Cloudy and 51 at KPNW.
The best real estate market in a decade. Less homes for sale, coupled with low interest rates, get you the top dollar for your house in today's market.
So if you have to sell so that you can buy and you don't want to be without a place, you need to call Eric and Jeanette Harpole with Keller Williams Realty. Really, they're expert negotiators. They specialize in working with their clients that need to sell so they can buy their next home. And if you want to sell within your time frame and get the most money possible, These are the folks.
Obviously, you know that not all agents are the same. In fact, Eric, Jeanette, and their team outsell all other agents in Lane County. The reason? Better marketing, top-notch negotiating, their exclusive enhanced listing program, and unlike other agents, they offer flexible commissions. Hey, if you're not happy, fire them. You are in control.
You can get free information about selling your house this spring or summer. Give them a call, 541-286-3030. That's 541-286-3030. Or just go to harpolehomes.com in Lane or Douglas County.
Find your summer dreams at Guarantee RV. This is Shannon Mill, your discount dealer at Guarantee RV Supercenters. Everybody has a favorite happy place where they can relax and spend quality time with friends and family. For me, it's the Oregon Coast and all the cute little communities around the Willamette Valley. Now through Memorial Day, Guarantee is making it easy for you to find your dreams. We're offering over $2.7 million in markdowns on 750 units. You'll find the right trailer or motorhome for your lifestyle and budget. You'll also find a free barbecue lunch and pressure-free shopping on our 28 acres of selection. You'll find easy financing and hometown treatment. Plus, trade in anything and we'll give you instant cash or credit. It's a tradition my dad started nearly 50 years ago. Browse our specials online at Guarantee.com and see why Guarantee has been named one of the top 5 RV dealers in North America. Find your summer dream now through Memorial Day at Guarantee. We're just 5 minutes north of the Eugene Airport in Junction City. Hurry, this special sale must end Monday.
And last but not least, the backyard.
Wow, is that new siding? How'd you fit that into the budget?
Well, actually, that's the old siding.
No way.
Yeah, a little sanding and some Rada Cover Coat exterior paint with a lifetime warranty made it look brand new.
You know, now you just need a trampoline.
Well, my birthday is next week.
Keep dreaming, buddy.
Trust the professionals at Rada Paint. Find the expert nearest you at radapaint.com.
Rada Paint. Finish right.
The Wake Up Call. Wake Up Call. On 1120. KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Well, there's a certain amount of irony in the fact that I guess you would say corporate media or mainstream media has been following the meme of the Republican Party in meltdown, while the Democratic Party is having its own series of issues and meltdowns. And the latest is that a number of Democrats are discussing dropping DNC Chair Wasserman Schultz, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, that in particular, this really came to a head when Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders endorsed the person running against her for Congress. To talk a little bit about that this morning, it is Dr. Mina Bose. She's been with us before. She's the chair of presidential studies at Hofstra University. She is an author, and she joins us again on the Wake Up Call. Dr. Bose, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me back.
Like I said at the start here, all of the discussion has been focused on the Republicans and the Republican Party and how, the establishment Republican Party is in meltdown and battling with Trump, and it is a party in disarray. And the Democratic Party has its own set of problems as well. Let's talk a little bit about that, in particular this battle to whether to keep or get rid of Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yes, it's I think the battle here, I think, the fundamental issue here is that the Sanders supporters, the Sanders constituency, wants a real voice at the Democratic convention and in the party. And it's pretty clear that Senator Sanders is not going to win the Democratic nomination. And so I think the question is this movement that he's built, the support he's had, where does it go? How does Senator Sanders influence the direction of the Democratic Party? I think that's what really underlies this. There's a lot of anger that Sanders wasn't given more of an opportunity to engage in debates with Hillary Clinton. I think the Sanders campaign itself has said that they didn't expect to do so well a year ago. And so now there's kind of a sense of missed opportunity. It's hard to know, of course, what would have happened. But I think that's the challenge for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, is to figure out what her role is in trying to bring the party together. It's no easy task.
Well, and you combine with that the whole issue of the superdelegates, whereby you have Bernie Sanders winning the vote in a state, but losing because of the superdelegates.
Well, I mean, Hillary Clinton is still well ahead in pledge delegates. She's not. In 2008, Hillary Clinton wanted the superdelegates to vote for her over Obama, even though he was ahead in the pledge delegates with the race they had. There were issues with Michigan and Florida and when they held their contests and so on. This is different. Hillary does need the superdelegates to win. That's the system that the Democratic Party has. But Bernie Sanders, though he's done very well, particularly in recent contests, is not ahead in pledge delegates. And even if Hillary Clinton loses California with proportional representation, she will get delegates. So it's not, we can discuss the fairness of the nomination process, but I think by any measure, of democratic measure of kind of plurality votes, most votes, and actually even majority votes, Hillary Clinton is ahead. So she will.
I think that's fine and good, and you're right. Yeah, she is ahead in votes. But there are a number of people out there, and a lot of supporters of Sanders, and even others who don't necessarily support Sanders, that feel that that whole system is rigged. How can that not be an issue when, how can that not be one of the issues that's going to be something that's, tinder for the fire once we get to that Democratic convention, particularly in the way that...
That's a different issue from what we were talking about Debbie Wasserman Schultz. But
no, it's not, because Debbie Wasserman Schultz is one of the people that came out early on and defended that entire system of superdelegates, saying, well, of course, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Well, this is the way it is, right? I mean, these were the rules that were in place before the first nominating contest in Iowa, right, in February. So, and I wouldn't say the system's rigged. We may not like the system, but this is the system. The Sanders campaign knew the system. The Clinton campaign knew the system. The Clinton campaign is succeeding in the system that the Democrats have. Now, if that system needs to be changed, that's a separate subject for discussion, but you can't change them halfway through. In fact, in some respects,
totally
Debbie Wasserman Schultz, as head of the DNC, could pick all 15 members of the platform committee. She's agreed to pick 4, and I think it's Clinton's campaign is picking 6, Sanders is picking 5. So there are changes that are being made, but no, I mean, they're not going to rewrite the rules so that Bernie Sanders gets the nomination, and only one person can get the nomination.
Well, no, nobody's suggesting that they rewrite the rules. The point being here is that she has been very adamant when a lot of people were questioning the way that the rules were set up. She was very adamant in defending those rules when she could have said, well, yeah, maybe in the future, we need to take a look at changing those particular rules. She's been very steadfast in defending them.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying.
I
mean, that's one of the things that I would say is causing friction amongst those who are not in favor of her continuing on as the DNC chair.
Do you think if she said that maybe we should change the rules after this, that they would change their minds? I don't think so.
I think there would be some of them that would. I think that if she would have said that earlier, that there would be less animosity against her. That being said, the chances of her actually being ousted before the convention, I mean, if you were going to put odds on it, it seems to me that that's likely not to happen, but what do you think?
I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, we're just, about 6 weeks away from the convention, maybe 7 weeks. It's not, that would be a very risky move for the party. And really, you're not seeing... I'm not seeing a movement for that. I think the real question, again, is what role does Bernie Sanders play in the convention, in the campaign, in the general election campaign, in the party? That's the real issue, is where the Sanders support goes. And I think it's not clear how Hillary Clinton brings them in. It's not really clear how Debbie Wasserman Schultz in Philadelphia brings them in. They'll certainly have to do the best they can. I think that's more incumbent on... I think probably Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the best step for her is to kind of not take center stage at the convention and leave it up to Hillary, for her to take more of a procedural role and leave the unity building to the party candidate.
So do you think this is going to be the typical boring party convention that we've seen over the years, or is this going to be...
I don't think there's anything boring about 2016. No, I think I don't think so. I think that the real question is, does the discourse stay civil? And that's no easy task in Cleveland or Philadelphia. But no, I think actually there is a lot of uncertainty here. If you remember in 2008, there was a big question about what Hillary Clinton would do in Denver. Would she come out in support of Barack Obama? I think there is a similar type of question here about what Bernie Sanders is going to do.
All right. Dr. Bose, thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You take care. Dr. Mina Bose, 649 News Radio, 1120 KPNW. I suggested yesterday that it would be awesome to put a motor and wheels on the Tempur-Pedic with the adjustable base so that you could just drive it around in comfort. Believe it or not, people have actually put rocket engines on the Tempur-Pedics. They had rocket engines before they were actually even mattresses yet. The whole memory foam thing and the whole Tempur-Pedic process was created by NASA for the astronauts going up in the space shuttle as a way of reducing G's and increasing their comfort. And then somebody said, you know what? You can get a good night's sleep on one of these puppies. So literally, you could own a mattress that was created by NASA, by space engineers. And you can get one at Sleep Train. And you can save money on it because they're having the mattress price wars, where the mattress companies slap each other around trying to get the lowest deals so that you'll throw your tired body on one of their mattresses.
Check them out today. There's a location near you in Eugene, Springfield, Corvallis, and Salem. And tell them you like this with the like this with the wake-up call. Your ticket to a better night's sleep. It is Sleep Train, 650.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100 plus job sites, including social media networks like Facebook and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any city or industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 400,000 businesses. And right now, listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/quick. That's ZipRecruiter.com/quick. One more time. To try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/quick.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. So our highly skilled technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
The Wake Up Call is live on air and online from the Widmer Brothers studio Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9. Click on the Wake Up Call banner on KPNW.com and see and hear up-to-the-minute news as well as interviews and more. The Wake Up Call goes down easy, just like a Widmer ale.
Built for business. In business, time is money. In business, money is also money. No wonder nearly 1,000 businesses choose Comcast Business Internet over DSL from the phone company every single day. Not only is it up to 5 times faster, it's actually a better value when you go with the fastest plan. So take a minute out of your busy schedule and call Comcast Business. It will be well worth your time and your money.
Switch to Comcast Business Internet. Then add voice and TV for just $34.90 a month. And ask about our 2-year price guarantee. Call 800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com. Comcast Business. Built for business.
Offer ends 5/31/16. Restrictions apply. Limited to one voice line and private view TV for new customers. 2-year contract required. Requires Comcast Business Internet at an additional monthly charge. Equipment taxes and fees, including broadcast TV fee extra. Savings claim based on cost per megabits per second. Compares Comcast 100 megabits per second and 20 megabits per second DSL downloads.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
We all know those iconic words, spoken by Lou Gehrig 75 years ago. We all know the ball player, the durable Iron Horse, who played in 2,130 consecutive games. Lou ended his speech with a message of hope.
Been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for.
2 years later, the pride of the Yankees died of the terrible illness that bears his name, Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS. Although there is still no cure, the reason for hope is stronger than ever. Help bring us even closer to a research breakthrough for ALS. Join the team. Join the ALS Association in the fight to find treatments and a cure for ALS. Go to alsa.org/75 for more information.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. I feel like I'm choking.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Windermere Real Estate of Lane County announces the comeback of its benefit concert with headliner Hit Machine coming to Eugene. Thursday, May 26th at 8 p.m. Join Hit Machine on stage at Venue 252 Lawrence Street in Eugene. A portion of the proceeds will go to the local chapter of Habitat for Humanity. Hit Machine for Habitat, May 26th. Call Windermere for ticket information.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out in the next few minutes, we've got mostly cloudy skies out there from a thick marine layer. That's got temps right now in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s with light winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. We do have some very light fog as well as a few light misty showers off the coast. I expect both of those will disappear over the next few hours. This afternoon, the mostly cloudy skies, well, those will become partly cloudy. We'll see the temps shooting to the mid-60s to a couple of low 70s out there. Winds will stay light out of the northwest at 5 to 10. We're seeing this grungy pattern continue for a couple of days as we approach the weekend, but once we get to Sunday and into Monday for the holiday, high pressure will move in. That'll clear the skies, giving us plenty of sunshine and temps back in the mid to upper 70s, if not low 80s by the middle of next week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a great day.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are higher in early trading as investors assess the latest earnings and economic reports. The Dow is up 28 points at 17,878. The S&P 500 is ahead 3 points, just over 0.1% at 2093. And the Nasdaq is up 5 at 48.99. Shares of Abercrombie & Fitch are down 11% after first quarter sales trailed analyst estimates. But Costco is higher, up 4% this morning. Third quarter earnings beat analyst projections. Declining gasoline sales did weigh on revenue at Costco in the latest quarter. The latest snapshot of jobless claims shows the total down by about 10,000 last week to 268,000. That overall number was better than what economists were projecting. Meanwhile, durable goods orders far outpaced estimates overall, but demand for business equipment posted a surprise drop for a third month in a row. NYMEX crude up 0.7%, just under $50 a barrel. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Well, a growing number of people just live to be offended. Most of them are liberals, which is why political correctness has run amok in our society. A harmless advertisement in San Francisco has been blown into a controversy because it gave some people waiting to be offended a reason to claim they were offended. Now, the ad appears on billboards and bus stops, sponsored by a money lending company. It reads, 10% down because you're too smart to rent. That's it. Obviously, it appeals to people interested in buying a house, and that's the problem. The offended say the ad is smug and insulting. It's even called mean-spirited because supposedly it's blaming people who cannot afford houses for their own financial situation. It oozes self-congratulatory privilege, wrote one of the offended. Now, San Francisco is a very expensive place to own property. That's the reality. The median price for a one-bedroom condo is about $850,000, which means you would need 85 large for a 10% down payment. Since it's such a pricey place to live, most San Francisco residents don't own property. They rent or live on the street. At the risk of offending the offended even more, here's another economic reality. People can move to less expensive places where they, too, can maybe afford to own. But if you live in high-priced areas, you pay high prices. It's just the way things work, unless you want to sign back up for a subprime loan. If you are really good at what you do, and if your experience is worth sharing, make an investment in your future. There is a huge need for quality corporate trainers. Help others become the very best they can be while building your own income. Join the John Maxwell team. The John Maxwell team has been certifying corporate trainers, executive coaches, and speakers for more than 40 years. The cost for becoming a certified John Maxwell corporate trainer is basically the same as a few credits at an online university. It's a small price to pay for a life-changing program. Once you become a certified John Maxwell team member, you are part of the team for life. Become a John Maxwell certified corporate trainer, executive coach, and speaker. Visit johnmaxwellradio.com now for a special free gift. That's johnmaxwellradio.com or dial 1-800-MAXWELL.
We report, you decide. This is News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. An airline wants the TSA to be more customer-friendly. After all the frustrating long airport security lines, there's another hearing into that at the House. Fox's Jared Halpern live at the Capitol.
More than 40,000 bags and 70,000 passengers did not get where they needed to be on time this year on American Airlines flights because of long airports. American Airlines Vice President Carrie Filipovich suggests a new TSA position focused on advocating for travelers. Airport managers are also offering solutions to a House committee recommending easier enrollment for TSA pre-check and better seasonal staff rotations. Dave.
Jared, at the House last night, to the dismay of some conservatives, more than 40 Republicans joined Democrats voting to uphold an executive order that bars federal contractors from discriminating against LGBT workers. President Obama says he's been there, knows what Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are going through.
During primaries, people get a little grumpy with each other.
But he says what's going on with Republican Donald Trump is different. Fox's Alistair Wanklin traveling with the president live in Japan.
Dave, the president saying a lot of the proposals Donald Trump has made display, quote, an ignorance of world affairs.
Getting tweets and headlines instead of actually thinking through what it is that is required to keep America safe and secure and prosperous, and what's required to keep the world on an even keel.
He says some world leaders are rattled by Trump. President Obama speaking midway through a G7 summit here in Japan. Friday, he travels to Hiroshima to cast attention, he says, on the need to reduce global weapons stockpiles. Dave.
Alistair, a supersized protest outside McDonald's headquarters in Illinois, demanding extra value in worker paychecks, pushing for $15 an hour wages. Opponents say that would be too costly and jobs will be lost. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Our family is outdoors all the time.
We don't sit still very often.
We live in the country.
We're always running to basketball, soccer, games, and practices.
Anything we can do to reduce surprises helps us get through a day.
We want to do what we love, worry-free, and that's where FireMed comes in.
Being FireMed members gave us one less thing to worry about.
So being FireMed members has always made sense to us.
Having FireMed adds a little peace of mind and provides balance to our limited budget.
We FireMed for life on the farm.
We FireMed for family.
We FireMed for financial stability.
We FireMed for anything life brings.
Did you know that for just $65, FireMed covers your household for an entire year? That's less than $6 per month. A single emergency ambulance can cost $1,800, even with good insurance. No wonder more than 30,000 households FireMed. So why do you FireMed? Join today at firemed.org.
Coming off two big rallies, stocks are down a little on Wall Street, where Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides is live.
After back-to-back triple-digit gains for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, right now we're seeing the Dow down about 6 points at 17,844. Pressure on financials and materials weighing on stocks. The Nasdaq down about 4, and the S&P 500 down 2. This, interestingly enough, after oil did cross $50 for the first time since October. Some of the big movers we're seeing: Lionsgate to the upside, doing well with Orange is the New Black at some of its television operations. A new high for Burlington Stores after its latest report. A new low for Guess, the other retailer. And Williams-Sonoma beat the expectations. That's parent of Pottery Barn and West Elm. Dave.
Thank you, Nicole. You mentioned oil. It's down back below 50. It's 49.75, up slightly since yesterday. Gas has risen another penny. AAA's national average for regular, $2.31 a gallon. The House isn't winning lately in Atlantic City. New Jersey may come to the rescue.
The Democrat-led Assembly and Senate debating a package of bills today that would give the city 5 months to come up with a plan to balance its budgets over 5 years. The deal would eliminate the threat of a state takeover for now. It's unclear if Republican Governor Chris Christie will support the effort. Atlantic City has been struggling with tax revenue shortfalls after 4 of its 12 casinos went out of business in 2014. Tom Graham, Fox News.
A blowout in the NBA playoffs. The Cavaliers crushed the Raptors 116-78 on ESPN.
And now Cleveland just one win away from going back to the NBA Finals for the second straight year.
For LeBron James, it would be his 6th straight trip to the Finals. The other 4 were with Miami. Cleveland's now up 3-2 in the Eastern Conference Finals. In hockey, the San Jose Sharks will play for the Stanley Cup for the first time after winning the West. They'll face the winner of tonight's Game 7 between the Penguins and Lightning. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
KPNW, good morning. Hour number 2, 7:05. Clouds at a high of 65 today. Cloudy and 44 coming up tonight. And then some sunshine tomorrow. 65 for the high. Check this out. All right, sunny and 73 on Saturday. 78 on Sunday. And they're talking about potentially 88 degrees on Memorial Day. So progressively we get warmer and warmer until we get a heat wave coming up on Monday. 52 degrees currently at KPNW. And yesterday on the show, Bill was complaining about a scratchy throat. I proceeded to spend the afternoon out at Eggy Seed and Nursery yesterday, where I got hit pretty hard, checking the pollen count for grass. Grass pollen yesterday, 200 is considered high. We were in the upwards of just over 400. So if you started to sneeze and kind of start your hay fever season yesterday, that's probably why. Tree pollen, not so bad. The grass pollen hits you pretty hard. And if you're new to the area, welcome to the grass seed capital of the world. You're in for a treat. And it's like clockwork. The last week of May, almost all of June, and the first couple of days of July, that's when it hits me the worst. Although I know some people that starting about March, they start getting hit. So hopefully you find something, some kind of relief, aside from moving to Toledo. Coming up, we're going to talk with Alan Thayer, good friend of the show. He's coming back. It's been a while.
Yep. We're going to be talking about some rules that were changed by the president not all that long ago, dealing with full-time employees and overtime. We're going to be talking about that. May even ask him a question about one of the stories that we had this morning with the lawsuit that Lynn County is going to file tomorrow dealing with the state of Oregon and the issue of paid sick leave. Those stories, well, that'll be coming up a little bit later on in the hour. We have news, too, and that is one of the stories that we're going to be talking about, along with the fact that, Sylvia Hayes is going to have to pay $100,000+ to the Oregonian. We'll tell you why. Remember, she was the First Lady of Oregon. We'll take a look at that. Also, if you live in Lane County and you're one of those folks that kind of lives in that area where you're near a forested area, we're going to tell you how you might be able to receive some money to kind of fireproof your homestead. We'll have those details and more coming up, brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, here on KPNW. Think about all the different types of food we have in the U.S. There's Cajun and Tex-Mex, Northwest cuisine, Southern home style, and so on, and each one has a different flair, different staples, and unique dishes. Mexican food is the same way. At Burrito Amigos, you're going to get what's called Baja style. It comes from the northwest corner of Mexico, and a lot of the recipes at Burrito Amigos are family recipes, like the Baja fish tacos with cabbage, white sauce, and real cod. Normally, shrimp burritos at most places are like any other burrito, just with shrimp instead of, say, beef. Well, at Burrito Amigos, their shrimp burritos are also Baja style with the cabbage and the white sauce. You can always taste the difference at Burrito Amigos. And by the way, speaking of Baja style, stop by Burrito Amigos on 24th and Hilliard or on Highway 99 and get coconut shrimp tacos with mango pico de gallo. For the record, yep, tried them, loved them, needed seconds. Always good, always different, always friendly. Burrito Amigos in Eugene and Springfield. I'm Bill London, and I approve this message.
Is your heating and cooling system way too old? Contact Pacific Air Comfort, your local Carrier factory authorized dealer, to replace your old heating and cooling system. Turn to the experts for your home or business, and their professional staff will offer you a good, better, and best solution which addresses your wants and needs. They use quality Carrier products and installation, making you Pacific Air comfortable. Pacific Air Comfort, quality system design, quality Carrier equipment, quality installation, and outstanding 24/7 service and repairs. Visit PacificAirComfort.com. That's PacificAirComfort.com. Or call 541-342-5300. That's 541-342-5300 to receive Pacific Air Comfort's award-winning service today.
Local news, local people. The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Well, following up on a story that just continues to become more repugnant, some U of O students who were at the Bacchanalia at Shasta Lake Slaughterhouse Island last weekend actually did want to clean up the mess that was left there by frat and sorority members from the University of Oregon. The reason they didn't, according to a U.S. Forest Service spokeswoman, Phyllis Swanson, is that the area was too much of a biohazard with feces, used condoms, and other biological items. The area was eventually cleared by 25 Forest Service personnel. The site gained attention after photographs of the mess that looked like a typical Eugene homeless encampment went viral on Facebook. It's known that a dozen members of the U of O's Lambda Chi Alpha chapter were at the lake, but other frats and sororities were too, and they've yet to step up and take responsibility. The U of O plans to address issues with Greek life next year with the hiring of a new associate dean and a newly appointed advisory board. The Eugene City Council agreed to update the Downtown Urban Renewal District and increase the spending limit to $18.7 million instead of allowing it to terminate. The motion passed 5-3 Wednesday. Councilors George Brown, Betty Taylor, and Alan Zelenka voted against it. Final approval is going to come from the council on June 13th, or the issue could be placed before voters on the November ballot. The $18.7 million is expected to be spent on maintaining a permanent space for the year-round farmers market, creating a high-speed fiber network downtown, improving the park blocks and other open spaces, and redeveloping the former LCC downtown building. The Urban Renewal District is the tool that funds how those items are paid for. A 36-year-old Eugene man heard a noise outside his home on Madison and found trouble.
Saw 3 people in the driveway in the process of trying to steal a car, and he confronted them, and one of the suspects struck him with a knife, and he was also hit with an unknown object. He did not have any life-threatening injuries, and then the suspect fled the area.
Linda McLaughlin with the Eugene Police Department says the suspects left on foot. Police are continuing to investigate, and they're asking for anyone with tips to give them a call. Well, those living in rural, unincorporated areas in Lane County have an opportunity to apply for a grant with the Lane County FireWise Incentive Program. Now, it is a requirement that the county has to do this program if they're receiving SRS, the Secure Rural Schools payments. Lane County offers financial grants, then, to a specific set of residents
whose property or home is at risk of wildfire to receive assistance making some improvements to reduce that risk. And the best way to get information is for folks to visit lanecounty.org/firewise.
According to Devin Ashbridge with Lane County, residents have the opportunity to apply for thousands of dollars in financial assistance to replace roofs, siding, windows, doors with fire-resistant building materials, and to also make improvements to the landscaping.
And there is still opportunity for several home projects to be included in this year, and then we'll do another round of funding for the 16-17 fiscal year. Typically, we will reopen the application process in early to mid-September.
To qualify for financial assistance, you have to own your own home in rural Lane County, and that home has to be in an area where it would be at risk to wildfire. Speaking of wildfires, 40 firefighters from Central Oregon are going to Canada to help in a wildfire that's destroyed parts of Fort McMurray in Alberta. The firefighters include a 20-member Prineville Hotshots crew. They flew from the National Interagency Fire Center in Boise yesterday. U.S. officials are sending a total of 200 firefighters to help extinguish that 500,000-acre blaze. The firefighters are from the BLM, the Forest Service, and the Fish and Wildlife Service. The fire started May 1st, and it's forced tens of thousands of people to evacuate. It's burned over 2,000 structures and hurt the region's oil sands industry because of production slowdowns. Canada has sent firefighters to the U.S. to help us out in the last 5 years. Well, for the fourth time in 4 years, members of Oregon's congressional delegation are trying to change the way the forests are managed and wildfires are prevented. Brad Ford has the story.
The House has passed a Resilient Federal Forests Act. It was written by Congressman Greg Walden and supported by Representatives Kurt Schrader and Peter DeFazio. Walden says communities near the forest need relief from fires.
They have choked on smoke summer after summer long enough. They've seen their watersheds get destroyed by a catastrophic fire. It's time to fix the problem.
This bill would allow FEMA to treat a wildfire like a natural disaster to save the Forest Service from burning through its budget. It would also make it easier to harvest timber. He says the BLM plan is terrible.
This is a job killer.
Walden says the bill would require the BLM to revise its management plan to allow for more timber harvesting while protecting the environment. The bill now moves to the Senate. Brad Ford, KPNW.
A judge has ordered former First Lady Sylvia Hayes to pay the Oregonian nearly $128,000 in attorney fees that the news organization incurred in her unsuccessful lawsuit to stop the release of her emails. A Marion County judge's ruling came yesterday, almost 18 months after the Oregonian asked for business emails between Hayes and former Governor John Kitzhaber that were exchanged on a personal account. Hayes contended she wasn't a public official and not subject to state public records laws. Well, judges disagreed and decided most of the emails should be released. Kitzhaber yielded to political pressure and quit over allegations that Hayes used their relationship to win contracts for her consulting business. But of course, he only did that after he was reelected. Hayes and Kitzhaber remain under federal investigation to determine if either used their positions for personal gain. No charges have yet been filed. Hayes says she plans to appeal. A congressional committee wants a criminal investigation of the Cover Oregon failure. Brad Ford has the details.
The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee reviewed 170,000 pages of emails and reports concerning the failure of the Cover Oregon Health Insurance Exchange website. The report says there was widespread interference by former Governor John Kitzhaber's campaign staff, and his official staff and campaign advisors undermined the work group that was supposed to find technology solutions to the problems. It also says the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services failed to adequately oversee the project. They're recommending the U.S. Department of Justice and the Oregon Justice Department investigate the matter for possible criminal wrongdoing. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
The state's new sick leave law is about to get a challenge by several Oregon counties. Tomorrow, Linn County is expected to join others in challenging the state's new law as an unfunded mandate. Linn County Chair Roger Nyquist says there may be as many as 6 other counties joining the suit that's going to be filed in Linn County Circuit Court. He says they're looking for a ruling that the counties don't have to participate because it's an unfunded mandate. He says, according to the state constitution, Article 11 states that a local government is not required to comply with any state law, rule, or order after 1997 if it requires expenditures by the local government. Again, that's a paraphrase. The state's new law requires employers to provide an hour of sick time for every 30 hours an employee works, or 1 1/3 hours for every 40 hours worked. Nyquist wouldn't say what other counties are going to be joining the suit, but we'll all get to find out together tomorrow. Donald Trump continues to refuse to release his tax returns until after the election in November. Senator Ron Wyden continues to run for re-election and says that's wrong. And so, once again, he says there needs to be a bill.
Do you even pay taxes? Do you give to charity? Are you abusing tax loopholes at the expense of middle-class families? Are you keeping your money offshore?
Wyden introduced a bill that would require candidates to release 3 years of tax documents after their nomination at the party's national convention. If they don't, the Treasury would make the tax returns public. Well, Portland police arrested an 11-year-old boy after he crashed a stolen vehicle into other cars in North Portland. Yes, an 11-year-old boy stole a car. Officers responded yesterday morning to reports that a possible drunk driver had slammed into 2 parked cars and drove from the scene. Police found the stolen vehicle about a mile from the crash scene. They say the driver and passengers ran and hid in the neighborhood before they were found and taken into custody. Nobody was hurt, fortunately. Officers later determined that the 11-year-old boy and a 13-year-old male passenger were reported runaways. Both were lodged in juvenile detention for unlawful use of a motor vehicle. Well, a Medford woman who admitted to scalding her 3-year-old daughter's arms as punishment has been sentenced to 70 months in prison. 27-year-old Felicia Burton admitted in Jackson County Circuit Court that she held her daughter's hands and arms under scalding hot running water because the child made a mess in her pants in 2014. She pleaded guilty to assault and criminal mistreatment. According to court documents, Burton waited a day before seeking medical care for the little girl. The girl was taken to a Portland hospital where a doctor described her burns as life-threatening because of the high risk of infection. Defense lawyer Jenny Feinberg says Burton feels remorse. A court-appointed advocate told the court that the child is recovering from physical injuries but has deep emotional scars. Burton's partner, Brian Schott, also faces charges of first-degree criminal mistreatment. Well, Oregon now has a resilience officer. Brad Ford explains the job and who's going to be doing it.
The 2015 Oregon legislature created the position of resilience officer. It's supposed to direct, implement, and coordinate seismic safety and resilience planning for a major earthquake. The governor has appointed Michael Harriman to the job. He is moving from his current post as director of emergency operations for the Oregon Health Authority. He helped develop the state's plan for Ebola cases. Now he needs to quickly prepare for the Cascadia Rising earthquake drill that starts June 7th. The scenario is a magnitude 9 quake that affects Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. Brad Ford, KPNW.
It's 7:21. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Kind of a statement game last night for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They did a number like 38 on the Toronto Raptors, led by Kevin Love, the former Portland Prep star who tallied 25 points, 2 blocks, and a steal in 24 minutes of play. The Cavs got their mojo back and sliced, diced, and packaged up the Raptors 116-78. Halftime score was 65-34. Cavaliers now 3 games to 2 and can ice it in Canada in Game 6 tomorrow night. As far as local hoops, as expected, the Oregon Ducks will have Dylan Brooks and Tyler Dorsey on their stacked roster next season. With the rules, a player can check out their NBA scorecard as long as they don't hire an agent, which they didn't, and they're coming back. 4 of the 5 starters from last season's Pac-12 championship team coming back. There's even a chance that Dylan Ennis still, the Villanova transfer, could return as well. We'll know in June. High school baseball, Churchill batted LaSalle around 6-1. Junior pitcher Brock Townsend, 11 strikeouts for the Lancers. Like Churchill, Marist has early exits from last year in their rearview mirror. Spartans took care of business and beat 5th-seeded Corvallis 7-2 in a first-rounder. Marist softball won. They'll head to Milwaukee on Friday to face Putnam in the 5A quarters. And prosecutors have filed charges against former Blazer Kermit Washington, accusing him of embezzling about $500,000 in donations intended to go to charitable work in Africa. Instead, it went to jewelry, vacations, and other things. And professional Jenna Prandini, the former Duck, will be among the stars at Hayward Field this upcoming Saturday. We'll talk with Tom Jordan next hour about the Prefontaine Classic at Hayward Field. Wake Up Call Sports brought to you by Max Muscle, where you can get a free nutrition consultation from a certified nutritionist across from Market of Choice. News time 7:23.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out in the next few minutes, we've got mostly cloudy skies out there from a thick marine layer. That's got temps right now in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s with light winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. We do have some very light fog as well as a few light misty showers off the coast. I expect both of those will disappear over the next few hours. This afternoon, the mostly cloudy skies, well, those will become partly cloudy. We'll see the temps shooting to the mid-60s to a couple of low 70s out there. Winds will stay light out of the northwest at 5 to 10. We're seeing this grungy pattern continue for a couple of days as we approach the weekend, but once we get to Sunday and into Monday for the holiday, high pressure will move in. That'll clear the skies, giving us plenty of sunshine and temps back in the mid to upper 70s, if not low 80s by the middle of next week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a great day.
Ramjack leads the way in foundation repair. Protect your investment. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Check out our exceptional online reviews, then choose Ramjack.
CCB 146906.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, brought to you by Builders Electric, providing smart electrical service since 1960. On one of my desk calendars of daily sayings, one that I really liked was this: only a little person carries a big grudge. We all know some people who carry grudges for various reasons, and sometimes we wonder why they can't give them up, try to understand the other person's point of view, or simply forgive them for whatever caused the grudge in the first place. If we were to turn that saying around, it would take on a much more positive view, because we also know it takes a big person to give up a grudge. If you're holding any grudges right now, today might be a great time to give them up. It's no fun being a little person. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
Today's Motivational Minute was sponsored by Builders Electric, voted the Register Guard's 2015 Reader's Choice #1 electrical contractor, providing positive service for over 55 years. That's Builders Electric, CCB 4296.
Warmer weather is coming. You may be ready, but is your vehicle? Midlane Truck and Equipment Repair can perform a complete inspection of your cooling and air conditioning system to ensure you and your vehicle stay cool when it gets hot out. Offering bumper-to-bumper service and repair on trucks, RVs, autos, and trailers, including general maintenance, in-frame overhauls, welding, fabricating, liftgate, and reefer repair. Call Midlane Truck and Equipment Repair now to beat the heat.
Where's your finish line? Set a goal, make a plan, get results. Max Muscle offers customized nutrition plans by a certified nutritionist. Learn what and how much food to eat, when to eat, and how it relates to your body. Stop into Max Muscle today, Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
Hi, I'm Carl Deichler, the CEO of Beachbody, and I'm here to tell you about an amazing new way you can start losing weight for free right now. You've probably seen our workout DVDs on TV like P90X, Insanity, and 21 Day Fix. We just launched a beta trial of our new digital video platform, Beachbody On Demand. So while we're testing out this new digital video service, I'm inviting you to use it for free for 30 days. That means you can lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, even 30 pounds without paying a dime. Just text the word trial to 313131 and you can do 30 days of P90X, Insanity, or any of over 400 workouts for free. Now here's the catch. In return, all I ask is you let us know what you think of the service so we can make Beachbody On Demand the best fitness and weight loss site ever created. Just text trial to 313131 and get started for free right now. Again, text trial to 313131.
Message and data rates may apply. Membership fees apply after 30-day trial. Cancel anytime.
You'll find us at home, at work, in the car. This is the Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Joining us again on the Wake Up Call, a frequent flyer and friend of the show, Alan Thayer from Innovative Law Group, joins us on the Wake Up Call. Good morning, Alan.
Well, good morning. Thanks for inviting me back.
Yeah, always a pleasure to have you in studio. The thing I like about having you come in is that you always bring notes. You don't just walk in here and wing it. You actually put some thought into it. You jot down notes. You've got prep work. And over here, you also introduce your daughter to us.
Well, my daughter Catherine is with me this morning. She's a freshman at Marist High School, and we're on our way to take her to school, and she's joining me to
keep you on the straight and narrow.
Keep us straight and narrow, and see how life works in the real world.
Yeah, she's apparently. When I said you brought notes and so on and so forth, she's flashing your iPad over here too, apparently. So you're well prepared this morning.
Well, the topic you asked me to discuss, these new regulations, there's 508 pages of regulations. So I'm afraid that if you're going to ask me a question deep in the weeds, I'm going to have to go to my resources here.
Okay, that sounds good. For folks that don't know, talk about what your legal specialty is.
General business practice. I represent businesses, large and small. 49% of claims against businesses are employment-related claims. So about half of what I do is help employers with strategies to prevent employee problems and then to deal with issues when they come up so as to guard against employee lawsuits.
Okay. Before we get into the changes that were made to law dealing with overtime and paid employees, I wanted to ask you a question because this was one of the news stories this morning, and we've had members of the Lynn County Board of Commissioners on the show to talk about the particular lawsuit I'm going to ask you about, and it has to do with Oregon sick leave law. And Lynn County tomorrow is filing suit against the state of Oregon, saying that mandatory sick leave law is an unfunded mandate according to Article 11 of the state constitution. So my question to you is, I'm assuming you probably read the same article and you probably have some sort of opinion on it. So,
well, and Lynn County made this argument back when the legislature was considering the legislation. And at that time, I thought that it was a very clever, very innovative argument. It is an issue where there are no court decisions, or I suspect there's no court decisions interpreting the constitutional provision. So it's going to be a very interesting case. I'm glad they brought it, and I think that they have a good chance at succeeding. And I say that without having done any independent research of my own, but I wish them a lot of luck with that. We see a tendency with the legislature and state agencies of doing what they want to do without regard to the restrictions on government imposed by the Constitution or imposed by other statutes. And it is good to hold power accountable when they exceed the scope of their power. So I really want to see what happens here, and I'm glad they brought the suit.
All right, let's talk about the reason that we brought you in this morning, and it has to do with new rules that came out dealing with overtime and paid management positions. So why don't you kind of crystallize what happened and what some of the ramifications are going to be? Well, if you can. It's, like you said, 500 pages, so it's going to be hard to crystallize.
Well, there's a number of programs for lawyers to educate us on these rules, and the flyers announcing the programs are hitting our desk and hitting our emails right now, but none of them have taken place. So I don't have the benefit of that. But the Obama administration has been working on this for quite some time. We've been aware that it is coming. There's the issue of exempt and non-exempt employees. And exempt means you are exempt from overtime requirements. And so typically exempt employees are salaried employees. So they're paid a certain amount a week or a certain amount a month or a certain salary a year, and they don't keep track of their hours. If they need to leave for half a day, their pay's not docked. But I do want to caution that it is possible to have a salaried employee and be non-exempt from overtime. So you can have a salaried employee, but if you don't meet the specific salaried requirements, then that salaried employee still is entitled to overtime.
Okay, just to give a couple of circumstances.
I have a great assistant in my office, and so that she can have certainty in knowing what her take-home pay will be each month, I pay her a salary. So if she doesn't come in, she still gets paid. And if she works late, then we pay her overtime. But she's been with me a long time. I want to keep her, and this works out well. So she's salaried, but she's non-exempt. And a number of law firms that I'm familiar with actually do the same thing with some of their key staff people.
What makes someone exempt?
There is both a salary test and a duties test, and it's the salary test that the Obama administration has changed in 508 pages of regulations. So the salary test was, in order to be exempt, currently today, you have to make at least $455 a week or $23,660 a year. And if you make that, if your salary is that amount or more, then you look at the duties test. And there are 7 different categories of duties where you may be exempt from overtime. So one is a highly compensated worker. It used to be that today it is, if you make $100,000 and meet a couple of other little requirements, then you are exempt from overtime. That number is going to go up from $100,000 to $134,004. 134004. I'm not too sure the significance.
I was going to say, what's the significance of that $4?
I don't know. If you're a conspiracy theorist, maybe you work these numbers into
some sort of numerology thing,
deeper meaning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what that is. So that's the highly compensated worker.
It's a Masonic thing, is what it is.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. It's the Obama administration. They may not be into the Masonic thing. It's probably Bill Ayers or something. Some old Chicago in the '60s symbolism. The next duties category is executive employees. So if you meet the salary threshold and if you qualify as an executive employee, then
so like a company VP or something like that would be considered an executive?
Yes.
Okay.
There are 3 specific tests for executive employees, whether that counts, but that would be an example of an executive employee. And then there's administrative employees who do primarily non-manual work or work in an office, and they have certain discretion in the exercise of their duties. Then you have learned professionals, which doctors, lawyers, accountants, those sorts of people, engineers. There's a long list. There are creative professionals, and it's not just people who draw or paint, but the rule specifically requires there to be a certain amount of talent in order to qualify as a creative
that lets us out. We're due overtime. Yeah.
Then there's a category for computer professionals. And there's some real specific requirements of the type of work that a computer professional does. Simply repairing a computer may not qualify. As I was writing down notes on what all these things, I got to the computer professional list, and I go, nah, Bill's not going to get that deep.
No.
And then outside sales. And this is interesting because...
because they're dealing, if you've got somebody that's working completely off a commission, they're 100% commission. How do you judge overtime?
Well, commission's a little bit different than overtime. If they're 100% commission, they're not paid by the hour. Same thing is true with people who do piecework. But you can have outside salespeople who are paid a salary and a bonus, for example. They are not subject to overtime. But the interesting thing here is inside salespeople are non-exempt. So if you have an inside salesperson who works more than 8 hours in a day, or more than 40 hours in a week, then they are entitled to overtime. And I mentioned the salary test and then the duties test. There are a lot of employees that are probably misclassified. And one of the risks to employers is there will be a lot of attention paid to the wage and hour laws and the overtime requirements. And some employees could say, hey, wait a minute, I've been misqualified. And that's an issue that I think businesses need to be prepared for. On the flip side of that, though, there are employees who are receiving a salary. They perceive themselves to be a salaried employee, and they think that there is status associated with being a salaried employee rather than being an hourly employee. And for them, it's going to be, they may not be happy that they are going from salaried to hourly and may perceive it as a demotion. And that is an issue that some of the employers I've worked with are very concerned about. I don't want to, Joe's a great inside salesperson. I don't want to be the person to tell him that he's not salaried, because Joe thinks he's king of the roost here because he has a salary.
Okay, so what is happening here, essentially, from what I'm hearing, is you have a subtle or maybe not so subtle shift that turns a lot of salaried employees into simply hourly employees.
Hourly workers, absolutely.
Alan Thayer joining us on the Wake Up Call with the Innovative Law Group. So on the salary test, what did you say? $44,000 a year was the...
It's an increase from $23,660 to $47,476.
Okay. My first question is, I'm assuming that's gross?
Yes.
Okay. Is that gross before or after, say, something like health insurance is taken out? I mean, is that, if for instance, your company is... they're withholding X amount of dollars from your paycheck to help pay for health insurance, like the $1,200 I pay a month. Does that count somehow on this? I mean, how does that work out?
Well, I believe it's gross. It's gross, so it would be before that is taken out. But one thing I do have to caution here is we're talking generally today, and in everything I've talked about, there are some exceptions for particular industries or particular types of workers. So I don't want to mislead any of your listeners for answers to specific questions. Make sure they talk to someone who is up to date on these issues.
Right. Okay. Alan Thayer joining us on the Wake Up Call. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back on the other side, and then the question that I'm going to ask you is, how is an employer supposed to keep track of this stuff? That's coming up next here on the Wake Up Call.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. The Dow down 7 points, the Nasdaq down 3, and the S&P down a point as investors consider some fresh data. First-time jobless claims fell by 10,000 last week to 268,000, a lot more than expected. Durable goods orders rose almost 3.5% in April, also way ahead of forecasts, and contracts to purchase previously owned homes climbed in April by the most since October 2010, the report from the National Association of Realtors. Oil has touched the $50 mark for the first time since October after the government reported falling oil stockpiles and production. Right now, crude futures have slipped back to $49.81 a barrel. As it reports another dismal quarter, Sears Holdings has hired 2 firms to help it explore options, including the possible sale of its Kenmore, Craftsman, and Die Hard brands and Sears Home Services. Sears is reporting a net loss of almost $500 million in the first quarter. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg Radio.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene-Springfield area home for more than 40 years. As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
Earnings vary based on your effort.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses right here in Eugene? If so, we have an amazing opportunity for you. We're looking for a small group of motivated individuals to join our real estate investing team. You'll learn our simple 3-step system for flipping homes right here in the local area. This is Than Merrill, star of A&E's hit TV show Flip This House. My team and I are looking for a handful of people in the Eugene area who want to learn how to make money flipping houses in your spare time using other people's money. Eugene is a perfect market for my system, and this week I'm holding a free 2-hour educational workshop where you will learn how to make money flipping homes and how to build long-term wealth with income properties.
To get 2 free tickets to Than's workshop, call 1-800-339-3418. Seating is extremely limited. Call right now because this free ticket offer expires this Friday. That's 1-800-339-3418. That's 1-800-339-3418.
Michelob Ultra is more than a superior light beer. It's taking in all life has to offer, like catching a wave or biking a long trail. And when you're done, you reach for a cold Michelob Ultra. Fewer carbs, fewer calories, more to look forward to. Michelob Ultra. Long live the ultra life. Enjoy responsibly. Michelob Ultra Light Beer, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, 0.6 grams protein, and 0 grams fat per 12-ounce serving. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Each franchise independently owned and operated. Offer good on selected Signature Series product at participating franchises only. Some restrictions may apply. Ask for details.
They say that love's a compromise.
But not this time.
She wanted a beautiful home.
He wanted an energy-efficient home.
So what brought us together?
Budget Blinds. Budget Blinds has an incredible selection of beautiful window coverings.
And Budget Blinds offers multiple energy-saving designs.
They look gorgeous.
And they keep rooms warm in the winter and cool in the summer.
It's a perfect marriage.
I'll say.
Right now is the time to save during Budget Blinds Spring Style Event. Now get up to a $250 rebate on energy-efficient window coverings at Budget Blinds. Plus, Budget Blinds sends a style consultant right to your door with swatches, styles, and ideas for free. And they do all the measuring and installation. You don't lift a finger. Call Budget Blinds today for your free in-home consultation. Then qualify for up to a $250 rebate during Budget Blinds Spring Style Event. Going on now. Call 1-800-610-2717. That's 1-800-610-2717. 1-800-610-2717.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning to you and yours. If you're headed out in the next few minutes, we've got mostly cloudy skies out there from a thick marine layer. That's got temps right now in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s with light winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. We do have some very light fog as well as a few light misty showers off the coast. I expect both of those will disappear over the next few hours. This afternoon, the mostly cloudy skies, well, those will become partly cloudy. We'll see the temps shooting to the mid-60s to a couple of low 70s out there. Winds will stay light out of the northwest at 5 to 10. We're seeing this grungy pattern continue for a couple of days as we approach the weekend, but once we get to Sunday and into Monday for the holiday, high pressure will move in. That'll clear the skies, giving us plenty of sunshine and temps back in the mid to upper 70s, if not low 80s by the middle of next week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a great day.
Wayne County, Oregon, and the nation. Hear it here every day on the Wake Up Call. Holloway in London and News Radio 1120 KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. On the Wake Up Call this morning, Alan Thayer joins us with the Innovative Law Group. His specialty is business and employer and employee law. And our discussion this morning has been about the new rules that have been passed down by the feds dealing with overtime for salaried employees. And my question was, before we went into the break, all right, so if you have this major rule shift dealing with who is eligible for overtime and who is not, for instance, you make over what was it, or under $47,476 a year, that you're going to be eligible under many circumstances for overtime. My question was, well, how is an employer supposed to keep track of this stuff for salaried employees?
So, you think keeping track of these issues would be, or keeping track of time would be fairly simple. There are hundreds of pages of regulations, and it gets complicated very quickly. Now, there's the old-fashioned time cards, there's the computerized version, but the problems created here is that, one, people who have not been previously keeping track of their time now must keep track of their time if they don't meet the salary test. And it is up to the employer to maintain accurate records, not the employee. Now, you may say as part of the employee's job you're supposed to clock in, but if the employee clocks in wrong, it's still up to the employer to maintain accurate time. The real problems, though, is if you have an employee who is misclassified, so you think that they are exempt from overtime, you're not paying them overtime, and come to find out you are wrong on either the salary test or the job duties test, you now have to go back and pay them overtime for 2 years. Well, you don't have records. Well, guess what? All of a sudden, the employee is going to come with a calendar that said, oh, I kept track of my hours here as I was going along, and on this day I worked 12 hours, 4 hours of overtime, and the employer won't have any records to combat that. So I have a list of 5 things I think employers ought to be doing to prepare. This new law goes into effect December 1. Okay. And between now and then, there's things that the employers ought to be thinking about doing. And one is for salaried employees who they want to keep exempt, who are not making this $47,000 threshold, they may very well want to think about increasing salaries for those positions. They may have some employers may have employees that are less than the $47,000 threshold, but when you include bonuses throughout the year, they surpass the threshold and they would meet it. Unfortunately, only 10% of the bonuses count towards this salary calculation. So what employers may want to think about doing is reducing the bonuses and increasing the salary as a way of meeting this salary threshold.
I just was going to say that, oh man, employees are going to love you. Hey man, he's suggesting we get a raise. And then you suggest you cut their bonuses. Now we're back to, I hate that Ellen guy.
It's it is our friends in Washington, D.C. that are interfering with the employment relationship and saying that an employer in Lane County, Oregon, and their employees are getting it wrong, and they need to do it our way, what we in Washington say you need to do. Don't shoot me. I'm just the messenger.
Okay, so going back to the list of 5 things that you think employers need to do.
Well, another thing they need to do is, if they don't want to increase the salaries, then they need to think about reclassifying exempt employees as non-exempt from overtime. And we talked about that a little bit.
How hard is that to do, though, to reclassify an employee? I mean, wouldn't that require almost changing their entire job duties?
No.
In some cases?
No, I mean, it really will. It could. Or what you, it's really a payroll function.
Yeah.
And it's a timekeeping function and a record-keeping function. And most employers, when setting out a position, they say this is an exempt position or this is a non-exempt position, and they just change and then change their systems for that employee accordingly.
Okay.
If they don't want to pay overtime, then they may want to look at increasing staffing. And so, the rules change as of December 1. What are we going to do differently? And then the fifth thing I have is the issue that you talked about is record keeping. What are you going to do for these employees who have not been tracking their time, and how are you going to do that? And are you going to have salaried employees who are on the bubble? You're not positive that they meet the duties test. Do we want to start keeping records of their time just as a way of protecting ourselves if we have misclassified these employees?
It sounds like for business people, particularly, I look at this particularly for smaller business people. This creates kind of a huge onus.
Well, it does, and if you zoom out a little bit and don't look at this in isolation, businesses have had to comply with Obamacare. Have had to comply with paid sick leave. In Oregon, they've had to comply with increased taxes under ballot measures 66 and 67, are having to comply with minimum wage, increased minimum wage, and now we have these changes for salaried employees, and each of these impose cost. Each of these imposed time in order to comply. And for some businesses, they're going to reach a point where enough is enough. Earlier this week, a former CEO for McDonald's said that they can buy robots for $35,000 each that will be cheaper than a $15 an hour employee.
Well, they're already starting to do that with the cashiers section.
Absolutely.
Where you just walk up and... I had it happen, where was it? There was a fast food restaurant I was pulling through the other morning, early in the morning on the way to work, and I thought I was going to be talking to somebody at the window, and it was an automated, stick your credit card or your Visa card here, and it would take empty. I was like, okay, this is the first time I've ever seen this. That's going to become more commonplace, one would assume.
Pricing employees out of the market because of government regulations.
Interesting. What does this mean for startups?
For particularly the high-tech startups, this could be devastating, because high-tech startups, you have a bunch of clever, creative, talented young people who pool their time and energy, and they're conserving every dollar they can. They take minimal salaries, and then they are given stock options, and they hope to get the big payoffs. Won't be able to do that now. If you're going to give them salaries, you're going to have to more than double the salaries, which consumes cash. And if they work more than 40 hours in a week, you're going to have to start giving them. And if you don't pay them the higher salary, then you're going to have to start paying them overtime. It's going to be sucking cash out of these businesses. It's not good. This current generation, the millennials, are referred to as the startup generation. Some folks who are living in their parents' basement are actually working at trying to start companies. And if you increase the cost on those companies, how many startups are you going to kill? How many innovations won't come to market? And how much wealth will be lost because these people aren't able to employ their creative endeavors on the way that they, rather than the government, deem best?
Alan Thayer from Innovative Law Group. Folks are interested more in kind of finding out about ILG. Where do they go? What do they do?
ThinkILG.com. www.thinkilg.com.
All right. Alan, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for bringing your daughter in. She got a little bit of a field trip this morning. Did you learn anything?
I learned a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right. You taught her something. Congratulations. It's not often that a child actually admits that of a parent. So.
And on the radio even.
Yeah, on the radio. It is 7:56 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Get set to save now at Mid-Valley Tractor, your local Kubota dealer. Take command of your lawn care needs with a new Kubota Commander zero-turn mower. Get commercial-grade performance and a full 4-year factory warranty at a price you can afford. Now during the Get Set to Save sales event, get a special introductory price of $38.99 and 0 down and 0% financing for 36 months. Now through June 30, 2016. Call toll-free 1-800-794-4992 for details about cost and terms. Great prices, great products from people you can trust. Mid-Valley Tractor on Highway 99.
You are a business owner.
I am a business owner.
You want to grow.
That's true. I do want to grow my business.
But you need help.
Especially with how I'm going to grow my business.
So you call U.S. Bank.
Good idea. They'll know how.
Our custom solutions give you what you need to expand.
That's just what I need to expand.
Add a production line.
Wow. Can you believe that production line?
Give you operating capital.
Can't operate without operating capital.
And help your business grow even more.
I think I'm going to need a bigger office.
With a business banker there by your side every step of the way.
Maybe I should start another business.
Visit your local U.S. Bank branch or usbank.com/quickloan today. U.S. Bank. The power of possible. Equal housing lender. Credit products offered by U.S. Bank National Association and are subject to normal credit approval and program guidelines. See your banker for details. Deposit products offered by U.S. Bank National Association, member FDIC.
Endurance, speed, and power of elite student athletes will be on display. The sights, the sounds, the intensity of an NCAA championship. It all comes down to this moment. Time to lay it all on the line. Be there to share the experience with your family and friends. The 2016 NCAA Division I Men's and Women's Outdoor Track and Field Championships, June 8th through the 11th at historic Hayward Field in Eugene, Oregon. Visit ncaa.com/track and field to secure your championship tickets today.
Sponsored by T-Mobile. Switch to the Un-carrier today. T-Mobile.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. I feel like I'm choking.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many.
I feel like a fish with no water.
Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Depend on us for breaking news from the local neighborhood to the global one. We are News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. It's been a foregone conclusion since Ted Cruz and John Kasich finally gave up. Now a report says Donald Trump has all the Republican delegates he needs. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, less than a year after he glided down an escalator to announce his candidacy, an AP delegate count shows Trump has reached 1,238 delegates. That's one more delegate than he needed to clinch the Republican nomination for president. Campaigning in California yesterday, Trump sounded like the general election campaign is already underway.
Crooked Hillary Clinton wants to abolish, remember that, abolish the Second Amendment. They want your guns taken away.
With 303 delegates at stake in June 7th contest, Trump will easily avoid a contested convention this summer. Dave.
Rachel, President Obama took a shot at Trump from Japan, saying world leaders are rattled by what Trump's saying. Statements he says that
display either ignorance of world affairs or a cavalier attitude.
The TSA is taking some flack from airlines over those long airport security lines, frustrating flyers nationwide. Fox's Jared Halpern live at the Capitol.
TSA security lines have taken a toll on passengers missing flights and losing luggage.
Year to date, more than 70,000 American Airlines customers have missed flights due to excessive wait times.
American Airlines Vice President Carrie Filipovich says 40,000 checked bags have also not arrived on time. Airline and airport executives are offering their solutions to a House committee a day after the TSA chief testified wait times are coming down, thanks in part to excess overtime and new hires. Dave.
Jared, still no sign of the voice and data recorders that could help solve the mystery of the Egypt Air Flight 804 crash into the Mediterranean.
Cairo's air accidents chief says a special vessel is being provided by French company Al Seamar. The black boxes are believed to be in nearly 10,000 feet of water, which is out of the range of hearing and locating signals emitted by the black boxes.
Fox's Jessica Gallagher, Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This tip of the week brought to you by Neurospine Institute.
Does your child participate in team sports? There are numerous benefits, but these activities also come with the risk of injury. If your young athlete plays baseball, soccer, tennis, or some other sport, they might get hurt. Neurospine Institute has several physicians that specialize in sports medicine, and they'll help your rising star recover so they can get back in the game. Conveniently located off Coburg Road near Autzen Stadium, their facility includes an on-site surgery center, runner's clinic, and physical therapy center, all under one roof.
Are you living with chronic pain? The specialists at Neurospine Institute can diagnose the problem and develop a personalized treatment plan to address your symptoms. Their comprehensive services include clinical and surgical procedures, sports medicine, physical therapy, medical imaging, and pain management. Neurospine Institute's medical professionals will work closely with your primary care or referring physician to ensure that you receive the best care and treatment. They serve all of Western Oregon with 2 locations, the main campus in Eugene and their Roseburg Clinic. Visit neurospinellc.com today and get your life back.
A big protest has been cooked up outside McDonald's headquarters in Illinois. Some camped out overnight demanding workers get paid more. Fox's Jeff Manasso live in Chicago.
Dave, hundreds of union-backed protesters are rallying outside McDonald's headquarters in Oak Brook in suburban Chicago as the company's shareholders meet today with protesters demanding a $15 minimum wage, saying it's not a lot to ask a billion-dollar corporation, though the industry says minimum wage jobs are meant to be transitional. And former McDonald's CEO Ed Renzi warned last night on Fox Business that protesters could soon be out of work, saying it's cheaper to buy robotic technology.
That it is to hire an employee who's inefficient, making $15 an hour, bagging French fries. It's nonsense.
Protesters also want to unionize. Dave?
Jeff, police in New York City say they have video showing part of last night's shooting inside a concert before the hip-hop artist T.I. took the stage.
Once I heard one shot, I was going. I had people stomping on my leg and back and all that stuff.
A man was killed, shot in the stomach. 3 others were injured. Nobody has been arrested. The Justice Department's going to bat for a former school principal in Florida.
Ann Williams-Dorsey was the assistant principal of Turning Point Academy in West Palm Beach, Florida, but she says that job was taken away from her when she told her boss, the principal, she was seeking fertility treatments to have a child of her own. The new position came with a lower salary, too, and on the day she delivered twins, Dorsey says, she was removed from the school altogether. Now the Justice Department is filing suit, claiming Dorsey's civil rights were violated. The school district says they're working with the feds. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down 36 points, and the price of oil is slipping a little bit. This after 2 big rallies the last 2 days on Wall Street. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
KPNW, good morning. Okay, let's get you caught up on things that you might need to know to kind of shape your Thursday morning. You got the cloud cover. Pretty much going to stay with us throughout the day. 65 for the high. Starting to get more bright tomorrow. Sunny and 65. 73 on Saturday. 78 on Sunday. 88. Kissing 90 on Memorial Day. So there you go. Right now it's 51 degrees. Something that's going on today. And today only, Laughing Crow Salon, downtown Eugene, 690 Van Buren Street. Free haircut with your military ID. So if you're currently or ever been in service of any of the branches, you bring your military ID card. And my understanding is that you don't even have to have the appointment. Maybe call just to kind of see, if you're kind of on a schedule, so you might win the best time be. 690 Van Buren Street. We're talking about Laughing Crow Salon, which is a great. I think Laughing Crow would be my Indian name. If I had an Indian name, or Giggling Ferret.
I think my Indian name would probably be Dirk.
Dirk.
Yeah, Dirk. Dirk would be my Indian name.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Anyway, Laughing Crow Salon, today only, while they're open. You can get the free haircut. So thank you to Laughing Crow. Coming up, we'll talk with Tom Jordan, the director of the Prefontaine top 3 invitational track meets in these United States. And we'll talk also Gary, the president of Conley Capital. And we'll get a bit of news.
We'll have these stories coming up in just a couple of minutes. Well, gosh, look who's in the news again. It's Sylvia Hayes, Oregon's former First Lady. We'll tell you why. Cover Oregon, also in the news. It just seems like that it's 2015. It seems that way. We'll have those stories, including some money that might be available to you if you live in Lane County and you're out there on the outskirts near a forested area. We'll tell you how you might be eligible for a little bit of coin, and the story of the University of Oregon and the field trip to Shasta Lake that just went horribly wrong continues. That's this morning on the Wake Up Call, and your news brought to you live and local by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, here on KPNW.
News time, 8:07.
Burrito Amigos really does do things differently. Hi, I'm Bill London, bacon addict. One of the first things I noticed about Burrito Amigos bacon burritos is that they use not one, but 2 types of bacon. Nicely played, burrito friends. Their beef, not the usual cheap cuts, cooked forever to make it sort of tender, except for the surprise gristle wads. Burrito Amigos uses real certified tender black Angus beef, the kind you find at expensive steakhouses. That's different. The fish burritos, real cod. The taco salad's huge. Burrito Amigos menu is even different. You'll find your favorite burritos, enchiladas, tamales, and quesadillas there, but where else are you going to find yammy tacos made with yams and a spicy guacamole sauce that's different from anything you've ever tried? They even have potato tacos, which are delicious. How many burrito places even have a vegetarian menu, let alone tofu items? Burrito Amigos, happy to be different. In Eugene and Springfield, I'm Bill London, happy to vouch for the bacon and the yummy tacos.
Spring into camping at the RV Corral. New Winnebago trailers from $16,995. New Hideout trailers from $14,995. And the new Cougars from only $21,995. Check out Lane County's best selection of Winnebago Class A's and C's. Allegro by Tiffin, the Sunseeker lineup. And now RV Corral is the new dealer for Fleetwood Motorhomes. New or used toy hauler, trailer, fifth wheel, diesel or gas. Think award-winning RV Corral. Highway 99 or RVCorral.com. Why go anywhere else?
And last but not least, the backyard.
Wow, is that new siding? How'd you fit that into the budget?
Well, actually, that's the old siding.
No way.
Yeah, a little sanding and some Rada Cover Coat exterior paint with a lifetime warranty made it look brand new.
You know, now you just need a trampoline.
Well, my birthday is next week.
Keep dreaming, buddy.
Trust the professionals at Rada Paint. Find the expert nearest you at RadaPaint.com.
Rada Paint. Finish right.
You'll hear it here first. This is your wake-up call on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed, locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Well, following up on that story that just continues to be, well, disgusting. Some U of O students who were at the Bacchanalia at Shasta Lake's Slaughterhouse Island last weekend actually did want to clean up the mess that was left there by frat and sorority members. But there's a big reason why they didn't, according to a U.S. Forest Service spokeswoman, Phyllis Swanson. She said that the area was too much of a biohazard, with feces, used condoms, and other biological items. The area was eventually cleared by 25 Forest Service personnel. The disgusting sight gained attention after photographs of the mess that looked like a typical Eugene homeless encampment went viral on Facebook. It's known that a dozen members of the U of O's Lambda Chi Alpha chapter were at the lake, but other frats and sororities were too, and they have yet to step up and take responsibility. Likely they never will. The U of O plans to address the issues with Greek life next year with the hiring of a new associate dean and a newly appointed advisory board. The Eugene City Council agreed to update the downtown urban renewal district and increase the spending limit to $18.7 million instead of allowing it to terminate. The motion passed 5-3 Wednesday. That money, by the way, comes from taxpayers. Councilors George Brown, Betty Taylor, and Alan Zelenka voted against it. Final approval will come from the council on June 13th, or the issue could be placed before voters on the November ballot. That $18.7 million is expected to be spent on maintaining a permanent space for a year-round farmers market, creating a high-speed fiber network downtown, improving the park blocks and other open spaces, and redeveloping the former LCC building downtown. The Urban Renewal District is the tool that the city uses to fund how those items are paid for. A 36-year-old Eugene man heard a noise outside his home on Madison late Tuesday night and discovered trouble. Lots of it.
Saw 3 people in the driveway in the process of trying to steal a car. And he confronted them, and one of the suspects struck him with a knife. And he was also hit with an unknown object. He did not have any life-threatening injuries, and then the suspect fled the area.
The suspects fled on foot. Police are continuing to investigate. Anyone with information has to call the Eugene Police Department. Well, if you live in a rural, unincorporated area in Lane County and you're near a forested area, you still have an opportunity to apply for a grant with the Lane County FireWise Incentive Program. Now, this is something that counties are required to offer as part of the agreement to receive SRS payments. Those are the Secure Rural Schools payments that counties that are heavily forested are supposed to receive from the government. Lane County offers these financial grants to a specific set of residents
whose property or home is at risk of wildfire to receive assistance making some improvements to reduce that risk. And the best way to get information is for folks to visit lanecounty.org/firewise.
According to Devin Ashbridge with Lane County, residents have the opportunity to apply for thousands of dollars in financial assistance. It can be used to replace roofs, siding, windows, doors. All of those things would be replaced with fire-resistant building materials, and it would also allow you to make certain improvements to your landscaping.
And there is still opportunity for, several home projects to be included in this year, and then we'll do another round of funding for the 16-17 fiscal year. Typically, we will reopen the application process in early to mid-September.
To qualify for financial assistance, you have to own a home in rural Lane County in an area that's at risk for wildfire. 40 firefighters from Central Oregon have been sent to help battle a fire in Canada that's destroyed parts of Fort McMurray in Alberta. The firefighters include the 20-member Prineville Hot Shots crew. They flew in from the National Interagency Fire Center in Boise yesterday. Officials here in the U.S. have sent a total of 200 firefighters over the last couple of days to help extinguish that 500,000-acre blaze. The firefighters are from the BLM, the Forest Service, and Fish and Wildlife. The fire started May 1st, and it's forced tens of thousands of people to evacuate their homes. It's burned over 2,000 structures and decimated the region's oil sands industry because of production shutdowns. Canada, for its part, has sent firefighters to the U.S. for every year in the last 5 years. For the 4th time in 4 years, members of Oregon's congressional delegation are trying to change the way forests are managed and wildfires prevented. Brad Ford has the details.
The House has passed a Resilient Federal Forests Act. It was written by Congressman Greg Walden and supported by Representatives Kurt Schrader and Peter DeFazio. Walden says communities near the forest need relief from fires.
They have choked on smoke summer after summer long enough. They've seen their watersheds get destroyed by a catastrophic fire. It's time to fix the problem.
This bill would allow FEMA to treat a wildfire like a natural disaster to save the Forest Service from burning through its budget. It would also make it easier to harvest timber. He says the BLM plan is terrible.
This is a job killer.
Walden says the bill would require the BLM to revise its management plan to allow for more timber harvesting while protecting the environment. The bill now moves to the Senate. Brad Ford, KPNW.
A judge has ordered former First Lady Sylvia Hayes to pay the Oregonian nearly $128,000 in attorney fees that the news organization incurred in her unsuccessful lawsuit to stop the release of her emails. A Marion County judge's ruling came yesterday, almost 18 months after the Oregonian asked for business emails between Hayes and former Governor Kitzhaber that were exchanged on a personal account. Hayes contended she wasn't a public official and not subject to state public records laws. Even though she had her own website on the state's official website, she also had an office at the Capitol building and had state-paid employees that were catering to her. Judges disagreed with Hayes' determination that she was not a public employee and decided most of the emails should be released. Kitzhaber yielded to political pressure and quit over allegations that Hayes used the relationship to win contracts for her consulting business. Both Hayes and Kitzhaber are still under federal investigation, determining if they used their positions for personal gain. So far, no charges have been filed. Hayes says she plans to appeal. A congressional committee wants a criminal investigation of the Cover Oregon failure. Brad Ford has the details.
The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee reviewed 170,000 pages of emails and reports concerning the failure of the Cover Oregon Health Insurance Exchange website. The report says there was widespread interference by former Governor John Kitzhaber's campaign staff, and his official staff and campaign advisors undermined the work group that was supposed to find technology solutions to the problems. It also says the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services failed to adequately oversee the project. They're recommending the U.S. Department of Justice and the Oregon Justice Department investigate the matter for possible criminal wrongdoing. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
Well, the state's new sick leave law is about to meet its first challenge, and it's going to be at the hands of several Oregon counties. Tomorrow, Lynn County is going to be joining others in challenging the state's new law as an unfunded mandate. Lynn County Chair Roger Nyquist says there may be as many as 6 other counties that join the suit. It'll be filed in Lynn County Circuit Court. He says they're looking for a ruling that the counties don't have to participate because it's not funded. He says, according to the Oregon State Constitution, Article 11 states that a local government is not required to comply with any state law, rule, or order after 1997 if it requires expenditures by the local government. In other words, it's an unfunded mandate. The state's new law requires employers to provide an hour of sick time for every 30 hours an employee works, or 1 1/3 hours for every 40 hours worked. Nyquist would not say what other counties are joining that lawsuit, but we all get to find out tomorrow when the suit is filed in Lynn County. Donald Trump continues to refuse to release his tax returns until after the election in November. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden, who's running for re-election, says that's wrong. And so he's decided that he's going to write a bill.
Do you even pay taxes? Do you give to charity? Are you abusing tax loopholes at the expense of middle-class families? Are you keeping your money offshore?
Wyden has introduced a bill that would require candidates to release 3 years of tax documents after their nomination at the party's national convention. If they don't, the Treasury would make the tax returns public. Portland police say an 11-year-old boy was arrested after he crashed a stolen vehicle into other cars parked in North Portland. Officers responded yesterday to reports that a possible drunk driver had slammed into parked cars and then drove away. Police found the stolen vehicle about a mile from the crash scene. They say the driver and the passengers ran and hid in the neighborhood before they were found and taken into custody. Nobody was hurt. Officers did later determine that the 11-year-old boy, who was the driver, and a 13-year-old male passenger were reported runaways. Both were lodged in juvenile detention for unlawful use of a motor vehicle. And Oregon now has a resilience officer. Yes, you can breathe a sigh of relief. Thank goodness we now have one. We didn't. Brad Ford explains what the resilience officer is going to do and who's going to be the resilience officer.
The 2015 Oregon legislature created the position of resilience officer. It's supposed to direct, implement, and coordinate seismic safety and resilience planning for a major earthquake. The governor has appointed Michael Harriman to the job. He is moving from his current post as director of emergency operations for the Oregon Health Authority. He helped develop the state's plan for Ebola cases. Now he needs to quickly prepare for the Cascadia Rising earthquake drill that starts June 7th. The scenario is a magnitude 9 quake that affects Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. Brad Ford, KPNW.
It's 8:21. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
It was a statement game last night on part of the Cleveland Cavaliers as they did a number like 38 on the Toronto Raptors, led by Kevin Love, former Portland Prep star who tallied 25 points, 2 blocks, and a steal in 24 minutes of play. The Cavs got their mojo back and sliced, diced, boxed, and packaged the Raptors up 116-78. Halftime score was 65-34. Cavaliers now up 3-2 and can ice it in Canada in Game 6 tomorrow night. LeBron James actually said after the game, it was Kevin Love's game and we just followed his lead. You can believe that. As far as local hoops, as expected, the Oregon Ducks will have Dylan Brooks and Tyler Dorsey on their stacked roster next season. With the rules, a player can check out their NBA worthiness as long as they don't hire an agent. 4 of the 5 starters from last season's Pac-12 championship team, they're coming back. Even a chance that Dylan Ennis, the Villanova transfer, could return as well. We'll know in June. High school baseball, the playoffs have started. Churchill, a 6 seed, batted LaSalle around 6-1. Junior pitcher Brock Townsend, 11 strikeouts for the Lancers. Next up, Crater for Churchill. Like Churchill, Marist has early exits from last year's memory in their rearview mirror. Spartans took care of business this year, though, and beat 5th-seeded Corvallis 7-2 in a first-rounder. Marist softball team, they advanced as well. They'll head to Milwaukee on Friday to face Putnam. And prosecutors have filed charges against former Blazer Kermit Washington, accusing him of embezzling about $500,000 in donations intended to go to Africa. Instead, jewelry, vacations, and other things was how it got spent. And Jenna Prandini will be among the stars at Hayward Field this upcoming Saturday. As she's a pro now, the former Duck will make her Hayward return at the Prix, entered in the 200. Go Jenna. Wake Up Call Sports brought to you by Max Muscle, where you can get a free nutrition consultation from a certified nutritionist across from Market of Choice on Franklin. By the way, speaking of the Prix, talking to the director, Tom Jordan, coming up. News time, 8:23.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. We're starting off with mostly cloudy skies out there right now. Temps are in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s with light winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. We have some very light misty rain off of the coast. Now, as we move through the day, we'll actually see a little bit of sunshine this afternoon as the skies will part, becoming partly cloudy. Highs will shoot to the mid to upper 60s with a few low 70s out there. Winds will stay northwest at 5 to 10. But the same pattern looks to play out over the next few days before a large pocket of high pressure moves in Saturday night, clearing the skies for most of next week, shooting the temps back into the 70s with sunny skies. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Ramjack leads the way in foundation repair. Protect your investment. Get your free in-home evaluation at ramjackwest.com. Check out our exceptional online reviews, then choose Ramjack.
CCB 146906.
I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Chris with Home Comfort. When we say the one to call,
the one means no matter what the problem.
From security lighting, generator systems, panel changeouts, service upgrades, with technicians available 24/7.
Or HVAC, from routine cleanings to breakdowns. Home Comfort's locally supported by Mitsubishi Electric. So their Mitsubishi Electric factory-trained technicians will ready your house for any season.
Make one call to 541-345-2838.
Home Comfort, the one to call.
Built for business. In business, time is money. In business, money is also money. No wonder nearly 1,000 businesses choose Comcast Business Internet over DSL from the phone company every single day. Not only is it up to 5 times faster, it's actually a better value when you go with the fastest plan. So take a minute out of your busy schedule and call Comcast Business. It will be well worth your time and your money. Switch to Comcast Business Internet. Then add voice and TV for just $34.90 a month. And ask about our 2-year price guarantee. Call 800-501-6000 or visit ComcastBusiness.com. Comcast Business. Built for business.
Offer ends 5/31/16. Restrictions apply. Limited to one voice line and private view TV for new customers. 2-year contract required.
Requires Comcast Business Internet at an additional monthly charge. Equipment taxes and fees, including broadcast TV fee extra. Savings claim based on cost per megabits per second. Compares Comcast 100 megabits per second and 20 megabits per second DSL downloads.
Is your body getting enough protein every day? Try Max Pro at Max Muscle. These protein shakes are packed with protein, very low carbs, and zero sugar. Chocolate malt, strawberry banana smoothie, blueberry, and more. Max Muscle. Try it before you buy it. Franklin Boulevard, across from the Market of Choice.
Viagra. There, I've said it. If you're a male, chances are you might benefit from this medication. It's time for a conversation about all the benefits of Viagra, not just giggle. Viagra is expensive. River Road Health Mart Pharmacy can make it affordable for you. A generic alternative medication for Viagra is now available. The same active ingredient in Viagra and generic 20 milligram tablets for less than $3 each. River Road Health Mart Pharmacy even delivers to your home or office. Find them online at pharmacyeugene.com.
Local news, local people, Holloway in London, and the wake-up call. I want you to get up now. On News Radio 1120, KPNW.
News Radio 1120 KPNW. Hey, look who's here. It's none other than the president of Conley Capital, fresh back from a walk on the beach with Tucson. How 15 or 17 years old did you say?
Yeah, we're not sure. His paper, he got adopted out of a no-kill shelter 7 or 8 years ago. 8 years ago now.
Good for you.
And we don't know we don't know where the papers are. So he's either 15 or he's 17.
Now I haven't seen him for a couple of years, but he was spunky. Is he still, even at 15 or 17 years old, is he still as spunky as he was a couple of years ago? Because he definitely was energetic.
Well, not as. I mean, he'll spunky in spurts and it doesn't last as long, but he's definitely slowed down. That's sort of like asking, are you as spunky as you were at 20?
Well, yeah, no. That said, he's a fun dog.
Yeah.
All right, so this morning we decided that it would be fun to talk about risk and what risk is and what is acceptable risk and just risk in general. So, and this all came out of because we've kind of incorporated this thing where we do vocabulary words in each one of these. And as I was going through stuff, I came across a lot of folks that were talking about how people misunderstand what risk is and what is acceptable and everything else. So that just sort of became something we just decided, let's talk about it.
Yeah, and risk isn't the word for today, of course.
No, it's not.
But we'll save that for a moment. Okay, so what is risk? I mean, in the purest form, it's the possibility of a different outcome, meaning a negative result in which you lose money, different than what you expected. And the riskless transactions, or where you got guarantees, used to be with your money in the bank earning interest. But not only do you not earn any interest now, but if you happen to be in Europe, you get a tax or a negative interest rate. They're charging you to hold your money. So what that means is that everybody, literally, unless you're going to put your money in a mattress, if you're going to have any kind of investments, you are forced to take risk of some sort. And what's your ability to take it? Do you even need to take it, and how much? And what's your willingness to take it are, things that people need to really need to think about. If you look at risk in general from a branch of economics called game theory, or behavioral economics, what they basically have determined is that people are much more afraid of losing money than they are willing to take risk in the hopes of gain. And so that's a dangerous kind of thing too, because anything that you're doing with your money at this point
has some sort of risk.
Yeah, it has some sort of risk.
Nothing is guaranteed.
No. One of the things that you definitely want to avoid is what's called an asymmetric risk, which means it's something that has a small chance of happening, but if it does happen, it would just wipe you out. The consequences are
Can you give
large.
a real-world example where something like that has happened?
Well, sure. An asymmetric risk, let's go back to Enron.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that would be where there were lots of the employees who had their job, who worked at Enron, and also had the bulk of their 401k or the retirement monies in the option that owned Enron stock. And Enron went to zero, which didn't look like much of a possibility when they were there. The disaster, of course, is that they lost not only their jobs, but they lost all of their savings too. So regardless of what your company looks like or you think it looks like, having your retirement savings in the company's stock is basically an asymmetric risk.
Okay. So as we're talking about risk, how does one go about discerning, or how does one figure out how much risk that they're willing to accept with their investments?
Well, it might be that you go back to how much do you have to take? Okay, if you are 70 years old and you have $8 million,
you don't need to take any
you don't have to take any risks. Okay, if you are 50 years old and you have $20,000 saved for retirement, or 55 years old and you have $50,000, somewhere in there, you have to take risk by definition.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, there may be no way to get from where you are to where you need to be anyway, but there certainly isn't without taking risks. One of the things to remember about the stock market and almost everything else is that the expectations for the future are already built into the price. So that makes it much more difficult to discover something that is going to actually give you large gains with a smaller risk than you might, than might ordinarily be there.
So the concept is that the greater the risk, the greater the return.
Supposedly.
Well, that was going to be, that's my next question. And that is that always the case? The greater the risk, I mean, the greater the return, excluding, losing your pants on something that just doesn't pan out. I mean, do these high-risk things always, even if successful, I mean, do they always pay off high? I mean, are there successes that are teeny compared to what one would have hoped that they were going to be, considering the risk?
Yes, of course. And there's no such thing as always in life in general, as well as in investing. So the trick is to quantify. The trick is to try to figure out what the risk really is. And we can. Dear old Donald Rumsfeld, who took a lot of flack for this because it was in a military standpoint or a military setting that he said this. He said, there are known knowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns. So in the case of risk, or in your own situation, let's say, you know that you're going to need money to live on. That's a known known. Okay, you don't know how long you're going to live. That's a known unknown. Okay, where you really get sideways with risks, with investments and everything else are the unknown unknowns, and there's no way to know those. If you
that's why they're unknown
unknowns. Yeah, you might step out in front of a bus and not need this afternoon and not need any money. There might be something that comes out of the lab that puts off aging, and there are some things that are possibilities there. And instead of living until whatever the actuary tables say that you might live to into your early 80s, or your gene pool says that you might live into your mid-90s, maybe you live to 125. Okay, well, that sounds wonderful from one standpoint, particularly if you've got a health span. But if from a financial standpoint, that's an unknown. That would be an unknown unknown that'd probably have a bad outcome for your money.
Yeah, no kidding. Just out of curiosity, and we don't have a lot of time left here, but are there a couple of steps when you are looking at an investment and you're trying to figure out the risk that's involved in that particular investment? I mean, are there a couple of steps? Are there a couple of things that you always do or usually do to try and discern what the risk is going to be?
Well, there are a couple of things. Always look at the price history of things, and not only the near term, but long term. And the other thing is, since things have a tendency to happen over and over again, I try to figure out what it is where this might have gone wrong before. I call it, well, after having done this for 40 years, that makes this scar itch because I made that mistake 20 years ago, so I think I won't do that again. The other thing is that you always have to be, if you're investing, you always have to be willing to, when new information comes in, be willing to change your mind and admit that you were wrong.
All right. Would you consider that to be kind of the nugget there?
I think that would be the nugget.
All right. So, today's vocabulary word. What is today's vocabulary?
Derivatives.
Derivatives. Derivative. All right. What are derivatives?
Okay. Derivatives are just some financial instrument that's dependent on something else for their value. From an easy standpoint, let's say futures in the price of oil. So the price of oil is whatever it is today. If you actually need to buy oil or sell oil a month from now, the July future is about $49.50 a barrel.
So the future is the derivative?
The future is the derivative because it's dependent on the price of oil.
Okay.
Okay. For July of 2017, it's $50. For July of 2019, $51 for 17. For July of 2019, it's $60. So that would be called a forward curve, a set of derivatives. And those are regulated derivatives. There's no danger in those in particular. It's the unregulated derivatives that are the problem. You could go out in a very simple form and, if you were big enough, buy a derivative contract and bet that Exxon was going to default on its bonds. Okay, not a very high chance, but if you look at these in a very complicated sort of way, there are lots of them, very convoluted, they're unregulated, and there are hundreds of trillions of dollars worth of them out there. The main risk is the counterparty, which means is the guy on the other side of this contract going to be able to perform? And the other main risk of the derivatives are to the banking system, who are typically the counterparties who have got way more of these than they could perform on. So I would finish up by saying that a derivative in itself is a financially useful piece of financial engineering, if you will. It's the uses that it can be put to that are dangerous. If you take an analogy, I've got a Ford Explorer that's a couple of years old. Okay, in and of itself, the Explorer is not dangerous. Okay, but if I were to get into your beer cooler there and run my blood alcohol level up to 0.15, drain the brake fluid out of the Explorer, and drive up Willamette Street at 60 miles an hour, all of a sudden that becomes very dangerous to me and anybody else who might be out there.
Good point. All right, we'll do it again next week.
That we shall.
Gary Connolly on Connolly Capital. You can go to ConnollyCapital.com to find out more about what Gary over here does. It is News Radio 1120 KPNW.
The Bloomberg Market Report, sponsored by Pacific Continental Bank, serving your business and community in Eugene for over 40 years.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. After 2 days of big gains, investors are taking a breath. The Dow down 37 points, the Nasdaq down 1, and the S&P down 3. With housing and jobs data on the calendar and oil touching, then slipping back from the $50 mark. A housing industry group says its gauge of pending home sales rose in April by the most in 5.5 years. The National Association of Realtors Index is at a 10-year high. From the Labor Department, we're getting another sign that disruptions to the job market early this month were only temporary. Applications for jobless benefits fell last week by 10,000 to 268,000. Earlier this month, applications jumped to their highest level in a year, mostly because of spring break in New York and temporary auto plant shutdowns in Michigan. The biggest IPO of the year is happening right now. Shares of restaurant distributor U.S. Foods are heating up. They're gaining more than 7% to $24.75. I'm Adrienne Mitchell, Bloomberg.
Pacific Continental Bank is proud to call the Eugene Springfield area home for more than 40 years.
As your local banker, partner, and neighbor, we are committed to the health and sustainability of your business and our community. We know it takes more than a loan or deposit to help you succeed. It takes people who know you, your business, and your community. Who says we can't be more than a bank? Pacific Continental Bank, the right bank. Learn more at therightbank.com. Member FDIC.
Get set to save now at Mid-Valley Tractor, your local Kubota dealer. Take command of your lawn care needs with a new Kubota Commander zero-turn mower. Get commercial-grade performance and a full 4-year factory warranty at a price you can afford. Now during the Get Set to Save sales event, get a special introductory price of $38.99 and 0 down and 0% financing for 36 months. Now through June 30, 2016. Call toll-free 1-800-794-4992 for details about cost and terms. Great prices, great products from people you can trust. Mid-Valley Tractor on Highway 99.
Ladies, enjoy an evening of fun, fashion, and friends at the Head to Toe Women's Expo tonight from 4 to 9. Brought to you by the Corvallis Clinic. Unwind, shop, and learn from a variety of featured boutiques, home goods shops, healthcare centers, and local businesses. Enter to win Jamboree tickets at the Corvallis Clinic Corner and catch the Ruby Ribbon Fashion Show at 7:30. The Head to Toe Women's Expo tonight at the OSU Alumni Center. Sponsored by the Laura Gillott Home Team with Keller Williams Mid-Willamette, CH2M Hill OSU Alumni Center, Samaritan Plastic Surgery Clinic, and this station.
Find your summer dreams at Guarantee RV. This is Shannon Nill, your discount dealer at Guarantee RV Supercenters. Everybody has a favorite happy place where they can relax and spend quality time with friends and family. For me, it's the Oregon Coast and all the cute little communities around the Willamette Valley. Now through Memorial Day, Guarantee is making it easy for you to find your dreams. We're offering over $2.7 million in markdowns on 750 units. You'll find the right trailer or motorhome for your lifestyle and budget. You'll also find a free barbecue lunch and pressure-free shopping on our 28 acres of selection. You'll find easy financing and hometown treatment. Plus, trade in anything and we'll give you instant cash or credit. It's a tradition my dad started nearly 50 years ago. Browse our specials online at Guarantee.com and see why Guarantee has been named one of the top 5 RV dealers in North America. Find your summer dream now through Memorial Day at Guarantee. We're just 5 minutes north of the Eugene Airport in Junction City. Hurry, this special sale must end Monday.
KPNW weather brought to you by Ramjack West. Do you have foundation problems? Ramjack can fix that. Get your free quote at ramjackwest.com.
Good morning. We're starting off with mostly cloudy skies out there right now. Temps are in the mid-40s to a couple of low 50s with light winds out of the northwest at 5 to 10. We have some very light misty rain off of the coast. Now, as we move through the day, we'll actually see a little bit of sunshine this afternoon as the skies will part, becoming partly cloudy. Highs will shoot to the mid to upper 60s with a few low 70s out there. Winds will stay northwest at 5 to 10. But the same pattern looks to play out over the next few days before a large pocket of high pressure moves in Saturday night, clearing the skies for most of next week, shooting the temps back into the 70s with sunny skies. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation, NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
I know it's kind of weird to think about putting on your to-do list a siesta, sleep, spending some good slumber time. But when you get a mattress that you love and adore and you cherish, and you get that from Sleep Train, and a great deal during Mattress Price Wars, it's worth it. When you feel, and I think just the fact that you maybe haven't had a mattress in a while that you appreciate. Maybe in the beginning it was giving you salvation and resting you well. But now, Sleep Train with their mattress technology and the Sealing, the Beauty Rest, Tempur-Pedic, Serta, all their different researchers working tirelessly to get you an incredible mattress and at a great deal. There's things such as mattress technology. And if you go in and just, even if you don't take a test lay, maybe if you just go in there and just kind of kick a mattress and see what it's all about, you're going to see that, yeah, I need one of those. And I need to have it this weekend so that I can put on my to-do list a little slumber. Right now with the Mattress Price Wars, you can save $400 on Beauty Rest and Posturepedic, 2 of Sleep Train's most popular mattress sets, or the Tempur HD. Not going to find that anywhere else. It's on approved credit with up to 36 equal monthly payments required. Sleep Train is ready to answer any questions and make sure that when you walk out that door with the same-day delivery and get that mattress that night, you're feeling 100% like you know how to maybe even use a remote control. Does your bed right now have a remote control? It could happen.
So head on in. It's Sleep Train. You're going to find them in Eugene, in Springfield, in Albany, in Corvallis, and all other points up and down the West Coast. And tell them that Bill and Rob from the Wake Up Call sent you in.
What happens next happens here on the Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
8:45 News Radio 1120 KPNW. One of the top track and field meets in the country, in the world, is happening in Eugene. It's the longest running outdoor invitational in the U.S. 20 consecutive sellouts. Of course, we're talking about Hayward Field and this Saturday's Prefontaine, the three-ring track and field event. If you like fast-moving events where there's one right after the other, this one's for you. The man behind the Pre, the director, Tom Jordan, always the annual visit, and it's great to have you back.
Great to be back.
How at this point, this close with the event, technically starting tomorrow, how are you feeling at this second?
That's a good question. I think I'm feeling alive. Yeah, no, it's
better than feeling the other way.
Exactly. No, I'm feeling pretty good. I think that it's going to be a heck of a show. And the athletes are arriving. A lot of them arrived yesterday, more arriving today. And once they all get in, then it's up to them.
Is that how you think of it, as a show?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is entertainment. One of the things that I absolutely have insisted on in the years I've done the Pre is that we have a show that's no longer than 2 hours and a half to 2 hours and 45 minutes. Track and field is one of the greatest sports in the world when it's bang, bang, bang. But when it's snooze, baseball city, no, forget it. You couldn't pay me to go to one of those meets. So that's why the Prefontaine Classic is absolutely chock full of nonstop action.
That's one of the things I've always liked about gymnastics meets is that it's like a three-ring circus. You've got, so the vault's going on over here, the floor exercise is going on here, and you got somebody on the high bar over here, and it just constantly moves and it constantly flows. And it's the same way with the Prefontaine in a lot of ways in terms of the pacing of it is just, that's got to be the hardest thing, I would think, as part of your job is the meet day logistics of the timing of, get these people staged, get them ready to go, because as soon as they're on. I mean, really, you are kind of acting more like a stage director.
Well, master of ceremonies, if you want to go with the three-ring circus thing, because we've got to really coordinate with television. We get this great schedule and we think it's perfect for the fans in the stands. We send it to TV and they go, no, we got to have time for our commercials. We got to have time for this and that. So it's juggling that all around and getting everybody semi-happy. Nobody's completely happy.
Talking about that schedule, though, is there a rhyme or reason to how you schedule the events? I mean, I know you have the Bowerman Mile.
Yeah.
Is kind of like the last event. I think the triple jump is how you start things out.
Right.
Is there any kind of coordination to what goes what?
A lot of it depends on how long the event takes. Something like the triple jump takes a long time to do, so you have to have it start early in the program so it's finished by the end of the program. Also, television cameras that are used at the triple jump are also used at the high jump. So the triple jump has to end in time to get the cameras over for the high jump. And that's part of the logistics that goes into it. And then you'll want the meet to end building to a crescendo. You want the excitement to be building. So, yes, the Bowerman Mile is always last because that's our marquee hallmark event. But like this year, we're having the Women's 1500 is just a super race. It's got Jenny Simpson, who's the world champion, and Shannon Robury, who's the American record holder. And they've been going back and forth, hammer and tongs, for several years now. And they're both in great shape. So I'm looking forward to that. That's near the end of the program.
Before we start talking about the personalities that are going to be there, because we got Jenna talked about Jenna Prandini coming back. What is, for somebody that doesn't know, because this meet is a part of the Diamond League, what is the Diamond League?
Diamond League is the 14 best invitational meets in the world. We're the only one in North America. We're the last 4 years we've ranked either number 1, 2, or 3. So you legitimately say the Prefontaine Classic is one of the best track meets in the world.
Okay, if we're not number 1, who typically would be?
Oh, this is a great story. Monaco last year edged us out because they got the world record holder. They got the world record in the 1,500 meters for women, which gave them bonus points, which put them ahead of us. But the irony is that Nike, who is our title sponsor, also sponsors Monaco. So they helped get that athlete to Monaco.
What are they doing?
Traitors.
What are they doing?
Broke the record, who beat us. So we ended up number 2.
So it comes down to firepower, basically who you have.
And certainly,
If you have a bunch of high school kids running, you're not going to be in the Diamond League.
Funny you should say that, because
it's hilarious.
It's hilarious because in the Bowerman Mile we have the latest wunderkind, Drew Hunter, who's already run 3:57 for the mile as a high school kid. He's coming He's taken serious aim at Alan Webb's national high school record that he set in 2001 at the Prefontaine Classic of 3:53 as a 18-year-old, and he's coming to Oregon next year as a college.
Yes, he is.
Then in the national mile, which is our second mile, we've got a kid from Idaho who's already broken 4 minutes, named Michael Slagowski, and you got one from Southern California who's run 4:01, whose name's Austin Tamano. So those two guys will be going at it to see who has bragging rights in the high school level.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I take the whole high school comment back. I retract it. The one thing I notice is that you've sold this thing out for 20 years. Past 20 years.
Yeah. Somebody's going to call me on that because we have exceeded capacity for the past 20 years. Because what happens is I count everybody. I count the athletes, I count the officials, I count the volunteers. So we typically get between 12.5 and 13.5 in the stadium. Seated capacity is like 10. So I call it a sellout. There may be some obstructed view seats or whatever. But right now, with the build-out for the Olympic trials, we've got plenty of seats. So if you want to come to the pre-classic, there is no problem walking up and getting a ticket or going to 1-800-WEBFOOT or GoDucks.com.
When is the permanent seating going to happen? I mean, with all, it just seems like having those erected, just for the event.
Yeah.
I mean, is that space needed? Is that what happens?
Well, I'm not privy to the actual build-out schedule, but my understanding is the construction will start after the last track meet at the end of July, and it will go for 2 years, and they'll build it in stages. So it won't be, tear down everything all at once, but they'll kind of move around the facility and build over the space of 2 years so it can still be used. You don't want to shut down Hayward Field for a year or 2 years. Right. And then, the thing about that people misunderstand, there's going to be a build-out, but it won't be 30,000, which is what the seated capacity for the World Championships will be. Most of that will be temporary seats. So I'm anticipating, and again, I'm not privy to all the ins and outs of it, but I'm anticipating maybe 12 to 13 permanent seats, 13,000, and that's just about right.
I want to talk about the 100. I think it's great because you got Tyson Gay, you've got Justin Gatlin, Asafa from Jamaica. You got all these 30-year-olds that and I guess as you get older, you kind of appreciate the maturity of the class. Is there any young blood coming up? Is there anybody that we need to be on the lookout? Any 20-somethings that are going to kind of want to knock these guys off?
Well, there are plenty of them. They're not in our race because they're
not good enough.
Well, I won't say that, but
I will.
All right, thanks very much. There are a couple of guys. Trayvon Bromell is one. He was an NC2A champion. There are guys that could make the Olympic team, and then if you make the U.S. Olympic team in the sprints, you have a chance to medal.
Do you think there's going to be a sub-9 soon?
No.
Or eventually?
Not legal. I mean, not clean.
Because I remember, talking about, the sub-10 was a big deal for a while, and now you're getting down to like 9, I think 9.6.
Yeah, I mean, Usain Bolt has the world record, and it's 9.38 or something like that, and he's a genetic freak. I mean, he comes along once in 100 years, so I just don't see it happening without, illegal assistance.
Yeah.
But they said that about 10 flats, so
right.
You're exactly right. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about tickets and shuttles and all kinds of stuff so people can find themselves at Hayward Field, Friday and Saturday, really.
Right. For those who have tickets, please use the free shuttle at Autzen Stadium. You park your car there for free. get on the free shuttle, takes you over to Hayward, then after the meet, back to Autzen. And tickets are available at 1-800-WEBFOOT, GoDucks.com, at the ticket windows at Autzen Stadium, and of course at Hayward Field before the meet.
Do you think, is it going to be safe to walk up and get tickets?
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, you'll see some covered seats there because we can't use them all. I mean, we're not the Olympic trials. We don't attract 22,000 people. So, yeah, we'll just uncover some seats and go from there.
One question I wanted to ask you, talking about the Diamond League, what if somebody, say, wins the 100, what kind of money are we talking about?
Well, let's see. I think the bonus is relatively modest. It's something like $50,000 for winning the diamond race in the 100. But then
$50,000 is modest?
Yeah, at the end of the season, after all this competition, that they total up who's number one and they get a bonus. But what really earns them the money is that each of the races, the prize money alone is $10,000 for first, and then you've got appearance money for most of these athletes, and then they've got their endorsement deals. So track and field is one of those sports where the rich are very rich. They're the 1%, and then virtually everybody else is really running for the love of the sport.
So if you need any extra bonuses for those people down below, we've got some Burrito Amigo certificates you can just kind of pass around to. So, well, hey man, nice race out there. Get yourself a free small burrito, would you?
Hey, they're worth it. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we missing? What do we miss?
Well, I don't know. I think the thing about this is it really is a preview of the Rio Olympics in a lot of these. I mean, you got some races. This women's 200 that we just announced today, Daphne Schippers from the Netherlands was the world champion, and she just came out of nowhere. She was a heptathlete, and she's definitely a favorite. But then you got people like Tori Bowie, who's got the fastest time in the world this year, and you've got the Jenna Prandini, our own Oregonian, coming back as a pro, and she's in with the big girls now. It's going to be fun to watch that.
And get Galen to rub his head straight where he can incorporate a track meet into his training.
Well, he's already on the Olympic team because he won the Olympic marathon trials. So you got to balance the fact that he needs to run 145 miles a week to prepare for that and the 10,000 meters against him having to sharpen up to race in the pre-classic because he doesn't want to come out and get embarrassed.
So it makes sense to you.
It makes sense. As a promoter, it's not my favorite thing.
All right, well, we giving tickets. In fact, let's do a pair of tickets right now. We'll do a pair of tickets if you want to go check out the pre. Caller number 1, give us a call, 541-485-KPNW. Always a pleasure.
Thanks so much, guys.
Tom Jordan, the
Take
man
care.
behind the pre, everything that is the pre-classic coming up. Hey, that's it. We got to run. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:05, right here on 1120 KPNW.
The Prefontaine Classic on Saturday, May 28th, will have more Olympic medalists than any other meet in history.
Prefontaine moving it up, and these people are going crazy for Steve Prefontaine as he moved down the stretch for one of the fastest races of his life.
The stars of the upcoming Rio Olympic Games will be at Hayward Field on Saturday, May 28th.
No doubt about it, Steve Prefontaine, our national AAU champion, and listen to that crowd.
Purchase your tickets at GoDucks.com or 1-800-WEBFOOT.
Viagra. There, I've said it. If you're a male, chances are you might benefit from this medication. It's time for a conversation about all the benefits of Viagra, not just giggle. Viagra is expensive. River Road Health Mart Pharmacy can make it affordable for you. A generic alternative medication for Viagra is now available. The same active ingredient in Viagra and generic 20 milligram tablets for less than $3 each. River Road Health Mart Pharmacy even